Hello, all theater lovers, both out and proud and on the DL. Welcome to Broadway Breakdown, a podcast discussing the history and legacy of American theater's most exclusive address, Broadway. This series is called Underestimated, and it is covering shows that either had mild success when they first premiered on Broadway or no success at all, but have since gone on to have a long and healthy life. I am your host, Matt Koplik, the least famous and most opinionated of all the Broadway podcast hosts. And with me today is an alum of the pod. You know her, you'll love her. My dear friend Patrick told me privately and in confidence, sorry, Patrick, that he adored her episode on Thoroughly Modern Millie. Said that it was his favorite of the Tesori Hour series. And so I said, well, I got to bring the bitch back. Please welcome Jessie Field.
It is truly a delight, my honor, and my pleasure, Matt. Let's fucking do it.
Let's get into this shit. Jessie, what fucking show are we fucking talking about today?
Oh my God. We are talking about Candide, which is a great show that I love very much and was so excited to be asked to come on and talk about.
I was so happy you said this. Also, in case anyone's wondering, yes, I am eating a bagel because this whole series is a mess on my end. But
it's simple. You got to value your body, and I am right here to talk over you while you chew.
Please do.
Lots of thoughts and feelings. Don't worry.
My body is a temple, and like any temple,
right.
It loves a good narrator. So thank you.
Here for you. Here for you.
Thank you. I was truly thrilled, Miss J, when I asked you to come back on. And pretty much everyone went, I kind of know Candide, but I don't know if I could talk about it thoroughly. And I don't know if I have the time to do all the research. And I was like, God, I really can't not have Candide on this season. Like, this is kind of the show of all the shows of this season that really defines this. And so when I reached out to you, you were like, I love Candide. And I went,
you have no idea what a nerd I am, Matt. I truly listened to Candide in high school with my band friends on the bus to marching band games.
Well, of course you did, because that overture slaps balls.
And I have played it so many times on trombone and on euphonium once.
Because you're a boss.
Because I've lived a life, let me tell you.
So then let me ask you this. This is our great opening question. Tell me about your history with Candide. And as you do, I shall munch on my bagel.
Please do. Yes, and my history with Candide does stretch back to my high school days of yore, which is when I really got into musical theater. My best friend from high school, Bridget Likely, was showing me Sondheim, showing me everything. One of the things she showed me was Candide. We watched the 2005 version with Patti LuPone and Kristen Chenoweth. And I was obsessed with it. I thought it was so funny. We learned all the words. We would sing the little songs to each other on the marching band bus. And I just think it's such a funny philosophical delight. You know, you may not know about me in college. I did major in theater, of course, but I also minored in philosophy. And there's a lot of philosophy in here that I love to dig into. And then, as you correctly guessed, Matt, I have played the overture to Candide about 1 million times, and I never get tired of it. I'm obsessed with it. I think it is tied for my favorite overture ever.
It is a pretty spectacular overture. Arthur Lawrence, fucking asshole that he was, wrote in his book, I forgot which book, I think it's mainly on directing, but I could be wrong, talks about how Gypsy is the definitive overture, and he goes, to be fair, Candide very much gives it a run for its money and would probably be considered the best overture, except for everything that comes after it.
Ouch.
And I'm like, oh, Arthur Lawrence, you cunt.
What a savage.
Yeah, well, he died and no one misses him, so that tells you about the life that he led. But
oh, Matt, I love how spicy you are.
Let's be
this spicy. Gypsy is the overture that it's tied with for me.
I mean, they are two absolutely extraordinary overtures. I think my 4 favorite Broadway overtures are Candide, Gypsy, Mac and Mabel, and Funny Girl.
Yes. You know which other one I love is actually Barely We Roll Along.
Yes, I forgot. That's my number 5. Totally forgot.
Nice. Big fan of that. I was so sad when they skipped it in one version that I saw. I was like, way.
Wow. Well, speaking of versions, this show has versions.
Oh, yes.
I think my intro to it was similar to yours, was the Philharmonic with Chenoweth and the Ponesies. And Special shout out to Janine Lamanna, who will be showing back up again on this podcast, not as a guest, but her career will be back in this. They filmed that, they performed and filmed it in 2004, and then it aired on PBS, I think, in 2005. And I remember that because Chenoweth took like a week and a half off from Wicked to do it. She was already kind of dealing with attendance issues in Wicked, and us Wick kids were very like, what is she doing? She barely has been performing in Wicked as it is. What is this concert she's doing? And then all the older gays on Broadway world were like, you don't understand what Candide is. And like how big it is that she's going to do this with the, with the Philharmonic and with Patti LuPone. Then we watched it on PBS. We're like, oh, this is so fun. And then from there went down the rabbit hole of finding out that there are other versions of the show. Because I knew the title, like I knew of it. I famously have been a theater historian since I was very young. But when you're young and a theater historian, you only select the shows that interest you to learn a lot about. Just like I knew all the stuff about Chicago and Sound of Music, but I was like, Candide, I know the title. I saw that picture of like a Barbara Cook doing a song called Glitter and Be Gay. And I'm like, okay, whatever that is.
Truly.
And then years go by and I'm like, oh, I should actually look into this. And then I listened to, I got the National Theater recording in high school, which I really loved. And then I got the Broadway cast recording of Barbara Cook because her Glitter and Be Gay is definitive. And then I was like so fascinated to listen to that version of Best of All Possible Worlds. I went, what's going on in the story here with these lyrics? This is not what I'm used to. Because, let's just get into it. What is Candide about, Jessie?
Oh, what a great question, Matt. I have like a short answer and an infinitely long answer.
Do the short, then the long.
Deal. My short answer is, I would say it is about like toxic optimism. And unpacking that on a philosophical level and thinking about like, what actually is life for? Is it good? Is it bad? What is it anything?
Right.
Yeah. On a more in-depth level, it is about in Westphalia, Germany, a young man named Candide, a bastard. I think like the nephew.
Very much so a bastard.
Very much so an illegitimate young man, but who is like taken in by the Baron, and the Baron has two children of his own, Cunegonde and Maximilian, and they're both super, super hot and rich, and everyone is so happy. They and their friend, who is a maid and kind of a prostitute, but like sometimes for free, Paquette, the four of them are like taking classes with Dr. Pangloss, and he tells them there can be no other possible world. So this is the best possible world. Everything is amazing. Everything happens for a reason. Live, laugh, love.
Not only that everything happens for a reason, but everything happens for the best.
Yes, for the best. Everything, nothing could be better. No matter what happens, they all believe this. They all agree. And that is where we start, in this place of high optimism. So then, of course, we go like immediately to war and rape. Well, first, Candide and Cunegonde are in love. We love a little cousin romance. They watch Dr. Pangloss like boning down with Paquette, and they're like, what a cool science experiment. Maybe we should do that. Hot. And then, of course, the Baron is like, wow, you're a bastard. No worries about the cousin thing, but you're not rich enough for Cunegonde. Get out of here. He like joins the army. Then there's a war in Westphalia. Everyone is killed. Like Cunegonde is dead. Maximilian is dead. Everyone dies 18 times in this show and is resurrected. It's one of my favorite parts about it.
Yeah, how everyone keeps dying, everyone keeps getting raped. It's
constantly.
And this is played for comedy, everybody. So remember that.
It sure is. It is a highfalutin comedy. War and rape happen constantly. And they're just killed. They're just always killed. So he finds like she's dead. Often he sings like a lament over her actual corpse. Often he's holding her dead body as he before he sails off to like, oh my God, where did he even go first? We go all over the globe,
everywhere,
and everyone comes alive. Like Dr. Pangloss dies 3 times. He travels with Pangloss briefly. Pangloss gets hung while still saying this is the best of all possible worlds. Candide is like whipped 1,000,000 times. And eventually he finds Candide again. She's like in this prostitutal relationship with a cardinal and quote unquote a Jew.
Prostitutal.
I'm coining that. That's my new word. Candide like kills them both, and they escape, and then they go to
Candide kills a bunch in this show.
And that's one of my favorite parts is it solves all his problems in a
yeah, because he's the thing about Candide that everyone needs to know is like Candide is really just a sweetheart. He really just believes in the best. So like when we talked about Sweeney Todd on this podcast, and I was on another podcast talking about Sweeney Todd, I would say how Antony is just like the handsomest dum around. Candide is sort of the same.
Yeah.
And the difference is that things always work out for Antony. Things never work out for Candide. And the only times they ever really work out for him are when he kills. and it's always against his will. Like he doesn't mean to do it. It just happens.
Yeah, it sure does. And it's pretty funny. Like one time he kills Maximilian and then Maximilian comes back later. Like I think
he actually kills Maximilian twice.
Does he really?
Well, Maximilian definitely dies twice at the very least.
He for sure dies twice. Almost everybody dies a couple times. Candide is alive the whole time. And you know, for 1 minute, he's in El Dorado and he gets a lot of free gold. So that's like a nice hour for him.
Mm-hmm.
The golden sheep, which he uses to ransom. It's like a big, messy, like we go to 1,000 places, 1,000 things happen. And what we're really watching is Candide's optimism get tested and how it starts to change over time. And it takes a really, really, really long time for him to waver on his optimism. His first thoughts are like, you know, it must be so, and then it must be me, you know, like something.
He's like, if I'm feeling this way about like, if I'm being tested and thinking maybe that everything's not for the best, then it's got to be something wrong with me because I'm not seeing the bigger picture here.
And isn't that so relatable? I'm like, oh God, this is what they teach you. And then you start to hate yourself because you think it's wrong.
If ever there was a musical about toxic positivity, it is Candide.
Come to Candide to unpack your toxic positivity and arrive hopefully in a better place.
Life is happiness indeed, mares to ride and books to read. Though of noble birth I'm not, I'm delighted with my lot. Though I've no distinctive features and I've no official mother, I love all my fellow creatures and the creatures love each other.
As Jess has been describing this, if you start to think, well, I feel like we're kind of going all over the place and there's no real drive, that's one of the things that keeps on keeping Candide from being a successful musical in a lot of ways. And then a lot of other things that we will unpack in terms of many iterations of the show and what people think makes Candide work or not, at least on a musical level. But
absolutely,
the show is based on a novella by Voltaire, who was a very famous, very insightful French writer. If you watch The Great, he is Catherine the Great's favorite writer and even shows up for a while, and then she's very disappointed in what he's like because he basically shows up to court. He's like, I fuck you now. I walk around and I don't know, I do whatever I want and life is meaningless and I fuck you. And she's like, what? And I'm like, that's the man who wrote Candide, bitch. But
yeah, he really did. That makes sense.
Yeah. And so, but he always sort of meant for the story to kind of just be a lark. And in fact, when it took off and became this sort of cultural sensation around the world, he denied ever having written it, because then people started leaning into it and reading into like deeper meanings, which like it does have deeper meanings for sure, but he never meant for it to do that. That's just sort of the downside of being so brilliant and insightful, is you write this thing that you think is a joke and everyone else goes, do you not realize that you just wrote a million insightful things?
Poor Voltaire.
But the novella is really just like a sequences of things for Candide and Cunegonde and everyone. There's no real overall arc. And then it just sort of ends with everyone going, well, then what is the meaning of life? And every version of the show has a different way that they get to this moment, and we'll talk about a couple of those different ways that they get to this moment. But eventually Candide just goes, there's no real meaning to life and not everything is for the best. All we can do is just do the best that we can and live each day and try to make the world a little bit better. And literally he says something along the lines of like, we'll have a farm and a house and we'll tend to our garden, which leads to the lyric we have, make our garden grow.
Make our garden grow. No matter how you get there, it is a very gorgeous ending.
Oh God, it might be my favorite finale of all time.
I totally agree. I saw it at the Huntington once years ago, and like flowers grew out of the stage somehow, and it was like such a magical theater moment for me.
Yeah. And honestly, y'all, I did not reach to this conclusion until this episode about the finale. And just gonna attest to this, I DM'd her and I said, excuse you, never not once in my life has Make Our Garden Grow made me cry. And I've been listening to Candide for almost 2 decades now.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I sobbing now all the time? Why am I listening to every single version of this? No matter who's singing it, I cry. I cry. I cry.
I think it speaks to something in the now, in the world that we have today, to be reminded a little bit that like gardens will still grow.
Yeah. So yeah, I got, and there's a specific line. I think I told you the specific line that really got me, right? The Cunegonde line.
Yes.
Okay, so then we'll put a pin in that because that line will not make sense to a lot of listeners who don't know the show very well in terms of why I'm like, I love this line and why she sings it. So let's talk a bit more about the show. So as you might know from not only the stuff that I sent you, but just from Broadway lore,
Yes.
Candide has had a very long, complicated history.
Yes. Oh, yes, it has.
Mm-hmm. So the original production started from the idea of one Lillian Hellman. For those of you who don't know who Lillian Hellman was, she was most likely, no, I'll say it. She was the most prolific female playwright of her day.
I think that's true.
And probably was the most prolific until Wendy Wasserstein came along in the 80s. Just so successful, wrote The Little Foxes, wrote The Children's Hour, a couple of other plays that did really well, Watch on the Rhine, and then wrote a couple of screenplays for Hollywood. She was Oscar nominated, I believe, twice, and just considered one of the great playwrights of her day, and definitely like the number one female playwright.
Yeah.
And there's a movie about her called Julia, starring Jane Fonda. And if ever you want to know how Hollywood just glamorizes everything, look up Lillian Hellman, look up Jane Fonda circa 1977, and you'll go, yes, that's Hollywood casting for you. Jessie's like,
you love to hate it.
Yeah, I know all of it. But so Lillian Hellman was brought before the House of Un-American Activities Committee. I think that's, the HUAC. McCarthy era, McCarthyism.
Oh, yes.
And basically, hated it like everyone hated it. And one of the few outlets for artists who were brought before the HUAC was Broadway. Hollywood was doing a blacklist, all this stuff. So, Broadway was really the only place you could go to do anything at that point. And she had the idea after, I guess, rereading Candide, saying like, there's so many parallels from this to where we're living right now with McCarthy era, which it's been a minute since I read Candide, but I was kind of going like, I guess with like the Inquisition, sure, but the rest of the novella, I'm not really quite seeing the parallels, Lillian, but I'll trust you.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's that auto da fe scene is very cutting now, then, always. And then we travel around the world.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not quite sure what El Dorado has to do with McCarthy, but sure. Like, I don't know what those pink sheep have to do with, 1956 America, but you know what? You're Lillian Hellman.
But hey, we believe her.
Exactly. Everyone's like, you're Lillian Hellman.
Yeah.
We trust that you know what you're talking about. And she ropes in Leonard Bernstein, who's like, abso-fucking-lutely. He's working on West Side Story, but that kind of gets put to bed for a minute because everyone working on West Side Story is doing other stuff. And then he goes to work on Candide while West Side Story gets put to bed. And they go through a couple of different lyricists. They start first go with John Latouche, who dies.
Yep.
And then they bring in Dorothy Parker for a second. One who famously said, use the word horticulture in a sentence. And she said, you can bring a horticulture, but you can't make her think. God, such a great
obsessed.
Such a great wit. And she was on it for about a hot second. I think she ended up contributing a lyric, like just not even like a song lyric, just like one line in one song. Yeah. She changed one pronoun and they went, great. You have a credit.
Dorothy Parker worked on this. Okay, bye.
Yeah. And they asked her, she was asked after the fact, she was like, what was the problem with your time on Candide? She was like, I had a fine time working on it. The problem is that there were too many geniuses in the room. It's like too many people who were so good at what they did that no one was willing to correct the other. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
That is a problem.
Yeah. So then Candide gets put to bed while Bernstein gets back onto West Side Story, meets with Stephen Sondheim. They get along famously. Then Candide gets put to bed because Candide was going through money problems. They couldn't raise enough money to do the show. So then he gets back to West Side Story. Once again, West Side Story gets put to bed because like Jerome Robbins is like, I got to work on a new ballet. And Bernstein's like, hey, do you want to be the new lyricist on Candide? Because like the financing is back. We're like good to go. This is going to come in this season. And we're going to like wait a year for West Side. And Sondheim is still in that era where he's like, I really don't want to be considered just a lyricist. And Hal Prince goes, hey, you want to do this, workshop or whatever it is of something that I'm working on, and you can write both the music and the lyrics. And sometimes like, I'm going to do this instead.
Yeah.
But hey, here are some friends of mine who'd be great lyricists. Bernstein ends up going with none of them and goes with the poet laureate Richard Wilbur, who writes what Sondheim considers some of the best lyrics in all of musical theater, which he's not wrong about.
Yeah.
But Sondheim will come back to Candide, and we'll come back to that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
They go out of town to Boston. Tyrone Guthrie, who is a renowned Shakespeare and opera director, is directing this. It's his first Broadway musical, which is not something you want.
No.
Not with this much money on the line. We have a young Barbara Cook getting her first real big Broadway role in this. She's been in a couple of Broadway shows before then. She's a Theater World Award winner. And I don't know, did I send you that clip of Barbara Cook talking about Candide?
No. Tell me all about it.
So people mistakenly think that Glitter and Be Gay was written for her. So Barbara Cook was the first Cunegonde. She introduced the world to Glitter and Be Gay. And a lot of people mistakenly think that the role was written for her, that the song was written for her. It was not. The role was in place. The song was already in place. But there were things about the role that I guess were tailored to her. And what she says is, she comes in with her big song. They like it, and they give her 2 weeks to work on Glitter and Be Gay. And she was like, and boy, did I ever need those 2 weeks. She's working with the music director on it as well and all this stuff. And she goes, basically, no one could really get through it at first.
Yeah.
And she couldn't get through it at first. She's like, by the end of the 2 weeks, I wasn't super happy with my performance of it, but I could get through it.
Yeah, because it is a beast. My God.
It is a beast. And she said, Bernstein, very accommodating. There were a couple of notes she had about, placement. Oh, can I maybe trill down on this note? It's the, here I drop my wings. Oh,
yeah.
They added that after she said, I can't just go,
And it's brilliant the way it comes down. That's so fun.
Yeah. And she's like, and I'm
in the room.
Yeah, she's like, and I'm drooping my wings. I'm dropping my wings. And Bernstein's like, yeah, absolutely. That's better. So they work on that. By the time they get to Boston, she has it mastered. She's stopping the show. Although she also said like, she wasn't having fun doing it at first because it was just such a mind fuck.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense.
Yeah, she went to, I don't know if she was working on like some sort of like going through your third eye mantra shit while working on Candide because it was just like torturing her physically. And she said, I found myself dreading going to the theater every night. And somewhere out of town in Boston, she finally like worked on something and she was like, you know what? If I just tell myself that I'm looking forward to doing the show, I will look forward to doing the show. It's very happiness project, yet also kind of like the opposite of what Candide is.
The irony of that attitude in Candide.
Yeah. She went through the opposite experience of what every other character goes through in Candide. She went through the misery and went, I will just tell myself it's great.
Whatever gets you through the day, Barbara. Yeah. We appreciate your performance.
Absolutely. She said she eventually got to a point where she's like, I did start enjoying it. And I like was looking forward to going to the theater every night and then stopped the show cold. The show, they go out of town in Boston and Sondheim tells a great story where Bernstein invites him out and Sondheim's like, Lillian Hellman wrote this brilliant satirical libretto. Bernstein wrote this gorgeous operatic score. Tyrone Guthrie directed this gorgeous parade of costumes. The problem was they all were different shows. And Bernstein's like, you're right, genius. He's like, come on into the room where everyone is and you're a 26-year-old nobody. Please tell internationally renowned Lillian Hellman and Tyrone Guthrie that they're working on different shows. And sometimes like, you're working on different shows. And they went, okay, thanks, bye, gay.
I mean, I get it. Listen, that's a lot.
I mean, think about it. If you're working on a show and it's not working, and you're probably aware of what it is that's not working. It's just a matter of like, can we actually fix it? And then some junior from Pace comes in and's like, what's not working, right? And you're like, yeah, I know. Get the fuck out.
Wherefore and hence, therefore and ergo. Wherefore and hence, therefore and ergo. All for the best in this best of all possible worlds. All for the best in this best of all possible worlds. Any questions? Ask without fear. I've all the answers here.
They open in 56. The reviews are kind of all over the place. There's some reviews that are like, this is brilliant. Some reviews that call it a giant mess. I think Walter Kerr of the Times was like, this is the most glorious of messes. It's like, this is a disaster on every level. And you don't know who to blame because they're all geniuses firing on all cylinders. And it somehow ends up with this flubber of a show.
I don't fully disagree with that. Like, it is like a messy little show,
Mhm.
whichever way you look at it. But I think that, God, it's such a beautiful mess indeed. I don't need art to be perfect every minute. I don't even know what perfect is. I think there's something to the mess.
100%. Life is mess, so you want to have chaos. That's what makes great art. I think the difference, though, is you do need a vision and you need to be able to carry it out,
Yeah.
especially with this show.
And it speaks to what you said about like too many geniuses in the room. You don't want to step on anybody's toes. You don't want to be like that, but you also need to make it one cohesive thing. And if
Yeah.
nobody is honest with each other or able to give critique across the board, I can't imagine how that would work. I mean,
Yeah.
there'd be a lot of good. There's certainly, I'm sure, even in or the earliest productions, there was a lot of good because it's good in every direction, and shows are a little bit more than good pieces.
Yeah, I think also criticism of musical theater has progressed in a way that if that production of Candide were to come out today, like
Yeah.
putting aside, you know, how we don't have a lot of grandeur in musicals anymore, like putting all that aside,
Mhm.
just like the design and the ingenuity of the score, like I think if that were to come out today, even if it still didn't work, critics would be aware of what does work about it and like the merit of it.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah.
We have come so far.
Yeah. Come so far, and yet also we've
And
regressed.
gone backwards. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's another thing that I talked about on social the other day, was just sort of like, listen, there's obviously like being catty is great. I love a good catty moment.
Fun.
Yeah, listen, I'm saying this in confidence, everybody, so please don't like, DM Sun Foster that I said this. But my favorite line to talk about this season, when people ask about my opinions of stuff, they say, well, Music Man, what do you think of the Music Man? I said, the Music Man this year is the most impressive high school production you've ever seen. And it's catty, it's mean, it's bitchy. But the truth is, like, it is not a bad production. There's nothing special about it.
Yeah.
And like everything about it, you're like, I've seen a high school do this. Like, they're doing it a lot better. They're doing it at Broadway quality,
Of course.
but it's total high school.
Yeah. And we want the new, in the words of Stephen Sondheim.
Yeah. Well, like if you're gonna do a revival, like it doesn't have to be a total rebrand like with this company, but like, I don't know, like have a point of view, have some energy about it,
I could not agree more, because we have videos, we've seen what's old. Theater is alive, and that is what we love about it, is that it's changing and evolving, and it can change and evolve every time we do it. The different people you put in it, like it changes with us, and that is what makes it so special. That's why I love it more than movies. It's the same every time, that movie.
It's true. It does make criticism of movies a little easier because everyone's watching the same performance. Yeah. Whereas like in theater, it's like, well, you saw them on a bad night. But the other thing I was going to say is, as you get older, everyone, and as you see more things, I'm really not trying to like drag people through the mud, but I'm just saying this. Your brain does kind of expand and your taste refines, and you start to see things a little differently, and you don't start loving everything anymore. You start to not like some things, and then you start to realize why you don't like something, or why something doesn't work, or why something is better than something else. Why a performer who you've always enjoyed, you start to see like older performances and you go, oh, that's a really cool way of doing that. I always say my brain truly exploded the moment I watched Barbara Harris's Tony performance in The Apple Tree, and I went, oh, that's special. What she like, that's talent that you can't teach. So when I talk about talent aliens, she is like who always is at the forefront of my brain. And why we don't have, when people are like, well, they're really special, I'm like, they're talented, but they're not a talent alien. There's a diff. But I talk about this in regards to Candide, when you look at some of these reviews, and it was at a time when these guys were, and I say guys literally because they were all men. Yeah.
Per usual.
Writing these reviews in like less than 6 hours. So they really just have to kind of go with their gut feeling and blah. And if they want to be quoted, they have to write something clever. And if it's a bad review, then it's really pithy, and they don't really give any insight into why it's bad. They just go, drag her, rip her to shreds. And again, some of those bad reviews are fun to read, but they're not, you don't get an insight into what didn't work. You just go, oh, what a funny, bitchy review. So the show does close after 2 months. And this is going to be a theme in our series, y'all. We kind of discussed it a bit with Pal Joey, and we're going to discuss it in future episodes. What saves this show is the cast album.
Yes.
Candide might be if Pal Joey with its studio recording in 1950 is what got interest in the show to get revived. Candide might be the first musical flop with a cast album representing that show specifically, like that production, that keeps it alive in the same way that, you know, Heather's bombs off Broadway and that cast album goes viral. Beetlejuice goes viral. Candide was sort of the first one to do that with the show specifically in that cast. It became a big cult phenomenon. Like, you were a true musical theater aficionado if you had the record, if you knew the overture. The overture gets played right before the show closes with Leonard Bernstein conducting the Philharmonic, and it immediately becomes a staple with the Philharmonic. It immediately getting played around the world. The show gets nominated for 5 Tonys that year. It loses all of them, I think, to My Fair Lady, which, like, understandable.
Okay.
Understandable. Although, okay, so this is the year of My Fair Lady, Candide, The Most Happy Fella, and Bells Are Ringing, all nominated for Best Musical. And I'm like, what a year for score.
Holy hell, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have Best Score that year, but, like, if ever there was a Best Score category, I'm like, okay, just all Muhammad Ali heavyweights boxing each other. Imagine 4 Muhammad Ali's boxing each other, and that is these 4 musical scores just going toe to toe.
Imagine who they would have picked. What a room. There's a musical right there about people making that decision.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna write a musical, and it's the embodiment of these 4 scores in a room having to fight for best score
in a boxing ring. Yeah,
in a boxing ring. It's the main event from Diana, but it's just these 4 scores.
We can just get used set parts. It'll be
exactly.
So convenient.
It's like I Could Have Danced All Night is boxing Glitter and Be Gay, which is boxing Somebody Somewhere, which is then boxing The Party's Over, and then, like, the opening numbers. These are just scores that are just so phenomenal. Of the 4, I think Bells Are Ringing is probably the weakest, just because it's not as, like, airtight as the other 3.
Yeah, the bar is crazy high. I mean,
yeah, like, we're talking like an 8.5 Bells Are Ringing with these like 10 out of 10 out of 10s.
Truly. My God.
Yeah,
I mean, you could just drown in it. That's why Candide is so delicious to watch. I mean, for 1,000 reasons, actually. I love a million things about it, but you just get lost in the music. I was getting lost in the music last night when I was like, oh, let me just watch this one more part before I get in the podcast. And then I was like, actually, I'm going to stay up for 3 hours and watch it all again because I want to.
That was me this afternoon.
It's like infectious. Like, I can't stop. It's like addictive, and it's just like you drown in the sound of it. You think like, oh yeah, and then the song will repeat, and I don't need to listen to that. I remember, and then it's like, no, I want to hear them do that again.
Yeah, the score is like you're taking a bath in a shape-shifting bathtub that at any moment could be room temperature warm, or could become a jacuzzi with blazing bubbles, or it could be steaming, or be rose petals. It's like
exactly that. I could not agree more. It shifts and then it comes back. It just always, you get addicted to those themes, and they give them to you again and again in different ways. And then, of course, they sink you in with Make Our Garden Grow, and nothing could ever top that in the universe, so the show has to end.
Yeah.
Also, I think they found their answer such that anyone can find an answer to, like, the meaning of life.
Yeah. It's, oh my God. Well, we're going to take a pause on the history of Candide and come back to it in a second as we talk about some of these songs, because I feel like they're going to just naturally pop up with historical context. But what is your favorite song in Candide? Is it Make Our Garden Grow?
No, it's not. And it like is like, of course it is. Like, that's the best song in the world. Like, maybe not really, but like, here's the thing about me, Matt, is like, I'm a very chaotic person, and I love things that surprise me. And like, my favorite songs in Candide are actually the really like little ones that are like, I think my favorite song is You Were Dead, You Know, that little song that he sings with Cunegonde.
It's a great song.
I love that song. And then it's so funny. It contains my favorite lyric, which of course speaks to the whole thing of the whole show, which is, you were dead, you know. And she just says, yes, that is very true.
Yeah. You were shot and bayoneted too. That is very true.
Oh, but love will find a way.
But then what did you do?
We'll go into
that another day. That's a great laugh line, because Cunegonde, as we've discussed, it's really hard to like talk about all the things Cunegonde goes through and be like, but it's funny.
Trust us.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah, Cunegonde starts the show as a rich Kardashian, and her in the fictional European country of Westphalia, or town of Westphalia, whatever it is.
Life is happiness indeed. I have everything I need. I am rich and unattached. to some frustration. What a pity it's survivors of limited duration.
Life is
And her life of privilege comes to a crashing end when the war comes, and she gets repeatedly raped by a whole battalion of men and then killed, which you're like, oh my God, how horrifying. It's like, yes, absolutely horrifying.
Of course.
And then, but then she's still like is alive somehow, and then ends up catching the eye of two very high status men in, I think it's Spain.
I think it's Spain. I meant to remember every location.
Well,
they went to,
Inquisition
but-
would be Spain, so that would make
right.
sense.
It has to be.
Yeah, so of Spain. So she ends up becoming basically like the number one courtesan of the quote unquote rich Jew. And
yep, and they go all the way with that too.
They do. They do. Fun fact, anti-Semitism was alive and well in France during Voltaire's time.
Yes.
The only way the show kind of gets away with it is that because everyone is awful or going through awful things, it's not the show in modern speak isn't trying to be like Jews. It's just like everything is off color, just deal with it.
And it's like tropes. They play so much in tropes and stock characters, big absurdist moves that, like, I mean, not that it matters, but like, I'm Jewish and I thought it was funny. Like, I really did. Like, he screams oy vey and then dies. Like, okay, it's funny. Like, it's not meant to be providing any information on like Jewish culture, nor is it meant to be providing any information on like rape culture or anything like that. We're not getting into these things. They're thrown up there like in a big, high absurdist way. You don't see anything that's like, there's no visible rape that is like very graphic or horrifying. It sits so light. And if you watch it, you will get it. It's not, it's one of the older shows that I feel like is not very problematic. And there are lyrics, I think, that really are self-aware, at least in some of the versions. One of my favorite ones that I watched in the 1988 version is they were saying like, oh God, we hate dark-skinned people. And then it was like, or even anyone with a tan, like with that sort of awareness where like, of course they were racist back then, they'd be racist, but they were like, and that's bad. And we're trying to show you the worst things in the world.
Yeah.
As we crush your optimism.
I think that's sort of why Candy gets away with all of it, is because it is constantly showing the awfulness of man. And so
it's like not doing it so much as it's commenting on it, is how I
feel. Well, so like the whole idea that everything is for the best and everything works out for the best is commentary on religion and everyone saying it's all God's plan, which takes away any kind of accountability of people. So when people go like, oh, God only gives you what you can handle, it's like, well, no, that dude should never have kidnapped that young girl and made her his sex slave in the dungeon. Like, Elizabeth Smart should never have been kidnapped. That's not part of God's plan. He didn't give her only what she could handle. That takes away the accountability of those assholes.
And that's what the show is trying to say. It's like, oh my God, everything happens for the best. Oh, even this girl getting raped 56 times again and again. Was that for the best?
But then also the show comments on something that I was like, good for fucking them and for Voltaire for calling this out, because this is where we're sort of at now, which is when people use their trauma as clout for my opinion is like the right one, because I've gone through the worst things. So like Cunegonde and the old lady have that great face off on the boat where she's like, I've been through worse. You don't know what I'm talking about. And Cunegonde has that great speech. She's like, unless you've been raped by 2 battalions, been stabbed in the stomach twice, been raped by 2 Jews and 2 like sultans, like, I don't understand how you have a worse life. And the old lady's like, I have one butt cheek.
She's like, sit down, I will spin you a yarn.
But the Cunegonde line in You Were Dead, You Know, is so funny because, again, like she's been raped repeatedly, and the way that she has survived is by being this courtesan to these 2 men, which the great joke here is that because they are of 2 different religions, they split her throughout the week, and then they never really know who gets her on Holy Sunday because they both celebrate but at different times of the day. So they have to like figure out when the sun actually goes down so that they can trade her off. And Cunegonde obviously is like crying inside, but on the other hand, she is a basic Betty, and which is the humor of Glitter and Be Gay, where she's like, my virtue is gone. I have had so many men inside me against my will, but oh my God, my diamond is so shiny. She's like,
have you seen it? Here it is.
It's literally, if ever there was a song that perfectly encapsulates social media culture, it is Glitter and Be Gay, because she's like, hey fam, thanks for subscribing to my channel, and then she turns it off and she's like, but I'm crying, and then she turns it back on and like tears running down her face, and she's like, ha 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 ha.
Enough. I'll take their diamond necklace and show my noble stuff. My
And on top of that, it is a high sopranos pussy poppin' aria delight.
Oh my
You get
God.
to show the fuck off.
We are so proud. We are so honored. And we so rarely get to hear like a big, glorious soprano showstopper.
Absolutely.
And it's special. Like it stands out in that way. It's such a feat.
So because we have millions of Candides and millions of recordings, what are your favorite versions of Glitter and Be Gay? And also You Were Dead, because you love it so much.
Yeah, oh my God, I love it. Well, I'll tell you, Matt, like I have a special place in my heart, and I know that I am biased because it's the first version I saw for the Kristen Chenoweth version of everything. And I think that is largely because that version, it's like an operetta, but that version is a musical, is what I feel. And it's like in the way that they sing it, in the way that they stage it, like they made it a little bit like a touch more modern or a touch more accessible. And all the words are so audible, and I'm such a sucker for words, and that's like where I memorize them all. So it is hard to shake me from Kristen's version. I think that she nails the humor like over and over again in a way that is more acting almost than singing, although she certainly sings it to hell. Like that is also a part of this. But sometimes she'll make choices where she just says something like, here we are in Paris, France. She's France. I giggle. It still gets me to giggle.
Yeah. I don't think that's controversial at all. I think the great debate for a lot of people is Cook or Chenoweth, and the problem
Cook is my other, of course, pick.
Yeah, and Cook, we never actually got to see her do it. We only listened to her do it. And
God, can you imagine? Please.
What I would give to watch her do it live. And Cook's version also, like, she was a part of a production that was more parodying high opera, so she's doing like rounder vowels and grand tones, like that's the style that she was directed to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and that works like on some level. Like I was just watching last night the 1988 version that you sent me, and I like, and it's super fun sometimes when they go more operatic and when they play with like that affected way of speaking or singing.
Yeah,
like, there certainly is something to that. I can get into either.
That Cunegonde in the 88 ones, the Scottish opera production, is actually a really solid operatic Cunegonde.
Yes.
I'm with you. I tend to prefer the show when it is done in musical theater roots with classically trained singers rather than opera people.
Yes, me too.
Because I feel, from what I have read, every time I read like reviews of different opera productions doing it, it's sort of like the actors and singers who get to do Candide in an opera house love it, because it's sort of like, oh my God, we're like doing this silly little thing. It's I don't know, it's like if a Shakespeare company did Noises Off, like, oh my God, we're kind of slumming it.
Oh
like,
my God, look at us.
Oh my God, we're being so silly. Look at us slumming it. How fun. Well, and the critics tend to sort of be like, it's not really an opera. And then us musical theater people go like, oh wow, this is a really operatic version.
Yeah.
And I feel like it does have to kind of live somewhere in the middle. So you need someone like a Chenoweth who has musical theater instincts with the classical training.
Exactly. And that's why it was so extraordinary she did this, and we got to see her, and with Patti LuPone, of course, like it. Oh my God, they knock all their little duets out of the park.
They do. Here's the thing about Patti LuPone as the old woman, and I also want to go into a third Cunegonde who I have mentioned on the pod once or twice in the past, but I like, because we're talking about Candide specifically, I want to talk about her as well, because she is not very well known as a Cunegonde. But Patti LuPone as the old woman is one of those casting things where, like, on paper you go absolutely, and then you watch her and you're like, she's Patti LuPone, so she's still kind of singing the shit out of it, just not in the way that this role should be sung.
It's very different.
Yeah, it's truly a case of an actress going, I am not going to conform myself to how you're accustomed to this. I'm going to do what I do.
Yeah.
And either you like it or you don't.
Yeah.
And I like it. I do like it. But there are different versions of the role where it's like, you hear like, it's easy. It's ever so easy. And then you got Patty who's like, it's easy. And then you got Andrea Martin who's like down 4 octaves.
Yeah, oh my God. I'll tell you, that's what I love about theater. If I don't hate it, like, it's so much fun to see different interpretations. I don't think that was what anyone imagined for the old woman when they wrote it, but it didn't not work.
It did not work. Obviously, like, Cook is my favorite Glitter and Be Gay for sure. I love Chenoweth. I think she's a comedic genius, and she does such wonderful things with it. If I have like any issues with Chenoweth's Glitter and Be Gay, and we're talking like hair thin, like
absolutely, we get to split hairs because it's so good.
Yeah, we're split. Like, I'm talking about my top 3 favorite Glitter and Be Gays, and the top 2 are, I'm splitting hairs because like they're just so fantastic. It's like Chenoweth's top register, it's a little intense with the vibrato, which shows that she's got great vocal training and health. But there's something about Cook, especially in Cook's heyday. We're talking like Music Man, She Loves Me, Candide Cook, where it's so fucking healthy and pure and rich, and it never sounds like she's hitting her roof. You always think she's got like another couple steps above her.
Yeah.
And Chenoweth, when she gets to her high register, it's like a machine. You know, it's a what's the wrong for? It's like a gun, but what's the rapid fire guns?
Gatling gun, the old one, or machine gun, or like
machine gun. Thank you. Literally, I had the word machine and I had the word gun, and I couldn't put the two together. What is wrong with
Gatling guns where they just turn that crank and it was like a machine gun? I love history.
Yeah, but Chenoweth gets to a certain point in her higher register, becomes sort of a machine gun, which is not a problem per se, but it is when I'm like, if you are asking me which one I like, if I'm on a deserted island and I have to listen to one forever, I think I would go crazy much later listening to Cook on repeat.
Observe how bravely I conceal the dreadful, dreadful shame I feel.
And there's so much show after that. That's not near the end.
No, I would argue it's maybe just before the middle of Act 1. Like we're still like in the solid first like third of the show when Glitter Be Gay happens.
Because it's really like Cunegonde dies, and this is like the first time we see her again.
Yeah,
and she did. Yeah, the main character except for Candide.
She does get a little bit of time off stage before it, which is lovely. And I was reading an interview with Maureen Brennan, who did the 1970s revival, which wonderful segue. And remember, guys, I have a third Cunegonde I want to talk about. Right. But Maureen Brennan played Cunegonde in the 70s revival, and she was like, actually, like Glitter and Be Gay, if you have the notes and you're doing the show, it's actually pretty okay because it comes early on, so you're not like freaking out, and you get Life is Happiness, Best of All Possible Worlds, and Oh Happy We to warm up.
Yeah.
She's like, you get that to warm up. Yep. And then you get you get about 15 minutes off stage after Oh Happy We, where Candide like is wandering the earth. Paris Waltz happens, and then you come on, do Glitter and Be Gay, and you're like, and great, I'm warmed up, I had a minute to rest, I'm good. And Maureen Brennan does not.
The rest of the show.
Yeah, then it's the rest of the show. But like Maureen Brennan is also not like the world's best vocal Cunegonde, if you ever listen to that recording. But that's also because Hal Prince's vision was not about the vocals.
Yeah.
So what a wonderful way to segue back into the history of Candide. And then I'll need you to remind me to tell our listeners about my third favorite Glitter and Be Gay.
I will never forget. I'm dying to know.
Well, it's not June Anderson, I'll tell you that. So Candide is like now in the Broadway lore of, oh my God, that flop that, has this great cast album, whatever happened to it. It gets done in London in the 50s with a slightly revised book. It bombs even harder there. And then like a couple of productions start popping up here and there in the 60s. But with each following production, the book gets tweaked more and more to the point where Lillian Hellman finally said, take my name off this. You're not doing my libretto anymore.
Yeah.
Because her libretto was meant to be like a really sharp satire on McCarthyism. And a lot of people said it didn't jive with the score because it was so dark. And I get that. Then what happened was the Chelsea Theater Center, located in Brooklyn, really wanted to do Candide. And they were like, Hal Prince, you are God right now. You've done night music, you've done Follies, Cabaret. Will you direct this for us? Like, will you slum it, come to Brooklyn and do this, 1 month long run of a show? And he's like, I don't really like the show very much. I saw it on Broadway. I was bored. And they go, you can do whatever you want with it. And he goes, I can do whatever I want with it. And so he calls up Leonard Bernstein. He's like, Lenny, can I do whatever I want with this? And Leonard Bernstein's like, sure, go ahead. Because also, again, while this is happening, Leonard Bernstein's reputation with the score is secure.
Yeah.
Everyone in the world knows the overture. It's played everywhere. Dick Cavett uses the Glitter and Be Gay section of the overture as his theme song for the Dick Cavett show. And by this point, also Leonard Bernstein has stopped composing. He also, West Side Story comes out after Candide, and like the world is like, Leonard Bernstein, genius. He's like, I've got nothing at stake.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's like, do what you want. I will not write anything new for you, but here's literally everything I wrote for the show. Have at. Hal Prince reaches out to Lillian Hellman, and she's like, don't use a single word I wrote.
Yeah.
But you have my permission to write a totally new book. And he's like, great, love it. he's like, I hated your book anyway.
Yeah, even better.
Never liked ya. And he's like, Hugh Wheeler, you who wrote one of the best librettos of all time for Little Night Music, will you write a new libretto for Candide? And he's like, I don't know. I read this book in school. He's like, read the book again. Tell me what you think. Hugh Wheeler reads the book. He's like, oh, here's a brand new libretto for you in a week. And then Prince calls up Sondheim. He's like, hey, got a minute? Do you want to write some new lyrics for the show? And Sondheim's like, no, I could never touch Wilbur's original. He's like, no. It's like, I'm not asking you to rewrite Glitter and Be Gay. I'm asking you, I need some new songs. He's like, so here are a bunch of songs that weren't in the show before. You can rewrite any of them. He's like, these are 3 story points I need new lyrics for. One is introducing the new character, introducing our characters at the beginning. So Sondheim writes, brand new lyrics that is formerly the Venice Gavotte in Act 2, which is a whole different storyline in the show originally that was never in the book. Lily Hellman's like, what if Cunegonde never got ugly like she's supposed to in the book and never became like a scullery maid washing clothes in the river, but she became like kind of a whore bandit with the old woman, and they try to rob Candide at like a ball, because who doesn't love a ball?
Horror bandit is exactly the job description I feel that Cunegonde has at that time.
Yeah, she becomes a whore bandit because she's like she and the old woman, they have to start. It's a whole, like, guys, when you ask like what's happening in the plot at this point, so much has happened. A lot of things have happened.
We've gone everywhere. We've done and seen everything.
Yeah, and the bottom line, and it's sort of the point of the story, is like none of it truly matters because they all go through highs and lows. At one point, they're like, they all have money. At one point, none of them have money. Some have money, some don't. All you have to know is like, we get to a point at the end of the show where Candide has a lot of money. He's in Venice. Cunegonde and the old woman have no money. They just have like Cunegonde's looks and their clout. And it all comes to this big Venice Gavotte where they're all in masks at a masked ball. No one knows who anyone is. Yeah, Cunegonde and the old lady are doing the Thénardier, like, come this way. Here's a child that ain't eaten today. But, with Venice Gavotte's music.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And I love Les Mis, but the Venice Gavotte is better lyrics. And basically, Candide realizes it's Cunegonde who's trying to rip him off. Cunegonde realizes she's trying to rip off Candide. And everybody's like, what the hell? And then he goes, whatever, make our garden grow. So...
First, he doesn't speak for like 5 days, and then he's like, I thought about it, and let's still get married, but with this life philosophy now.
Yeah, and then Maximilian still isn't happy about it. He's like, Maximilian, go look at yourself in the mirror, dude. Your opinion doesn't matter anymore. So
Candide has already killed Maximilian once for disapproving of this marriage.
Maximilian has died twice, once by the hand of Candide.
Our poor boy.
At one point, you would hope like... At one point, you hope Maximilian, Cunegonde, or Pangloss is like, I am God. I keep not dying.
It's just, they're so cavalier about it. It's my favorite joke, and they can do it as many times as they want.
Where do you think South Park got the, oh my God, they killed Kenny joke from? Trey Parker's a musical theater nerd. He totally has seen Candide.
Here we fucking go. And
there we go.
It's a great joke. It lasts forever.
It does last forever. But so the point is, the 2 melodies in Venice Gavotte were repurposed in the 1970 revival that Hal Prince did in Brooklyn, and they became Life is Happiness Indeed and Life is Happiness Unending, and they have some really, really funny lyrics. And then Sondheim wrote new lyrics for, I think he wrote new lyrics for Best of All Possible Worlds. He's not credited for it, which makes me wonder if Richard Wilbur rewrote the lyrics, but they are new lyrics.
Yeah, I guess I don't know who did, but they are great. So
I prefer them to the old one.
Yeah, me too, for sure. They fit so well, and they're so clever. Like well, and so Hugh Wheeler's book is much closer to the original novella than Hellman's is. Yeah. He obviously makes some adjustments here and there, but the overall structure, and especially the first half, is very much how the story goes, and he adds Voltaire to the proceedings and makes Voltaire a narrator and adds a whole lot more humor. Hal Prince is like, I want this to be a comedy. I want this to be light. I want this to be tight. So no intermission. It's an hour and 40 minutes. Keep it moving. Because he rereads the book. He's like, this is kind of funny. And then he reaches out to a Voltaire scholar who's like, oh, Voltaire never meant for this to be serious. This is supposed to always be funny. And when you read it, it is, because of all the way that it works. It's very sort of like Wes Anderson-y when he has a narrator talking about stuff, where it's like, it's that detachment, that distance, and that dry tone where he's like, and then Cunegonde was raped repeatedly, and then Candide went off and found himself in a sack, and then Maximilian was stabbed and came back to life, and then was stabbed again, and everybody was poor, and now Cunegonde has herpes, and Paquette is giving syphilis to Pangloss, and that is life. And it's
It's that kind of tone.
It's great because no, I mean, normally, gun to my head, you have to force me to accept the narrator in a musical theater, anything. This works so well, and we need it, I feel, desperately to sort of traverse the enormous world that we're traversing. It makes it easy, and it has such tone and perspective that makes it palatable. If you were ever like, yeah, I don't want them to show me the 50 rapes. When we just gloss over it, that's what makes it work and keeps it absurd and keeps it like your eye on the point, which is, ah, ha, ha, ha. Yeah, this world is so great, isn't it? Not. We hate optimism. Boom.
Yeah. Optimism be trying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would argue the original Prince 70s version is the best use of the narrator. And as we discuss other versions of it,
yeah,
people start. Oh God, okay. The bottom line is Hal Prince does this version in Brooklyn. It's an environmental staging. It's happening all around. And the idea is more that it's young, it's fresh, it's light, it's very 70s. He's like, I want the music to sound fine. I don't care if it sounds amazing, though. It just all has to be in service of the story and of the energy, which is why it was so successful and everybody loved it. Like, he fixed Candide. They move it to Broadway, runs for 2 years, loses money because of the musicians union. Do you not know the story?
No, I did not know that story. Tell me the story of that.
You're like, what a turn.
I was like, what a twist, truly. The play is unfolding right before me.
So, as I said, done in environmental staging, and they were looking for a place to move it to because they're like, it's sold out. They extended, sold out. And they first were trying to find unconventional spaces like ballrooms. They eventually settled on the Broadway theater because like, if we're going to do this, we have to rip out the seats. We have to, it can't be super huge. It's still got to be somewhat intimate. We need a theater big enough where if we rip out the seats in the orchestra, we can essentially do what we did in in Brooklyn on the ground floor and have enough space. So that's what they do at the Broadway theater. And they'd already had ripped out the seats beforehand for a show called Dude. So I think the seats were back in at that point, but they were able to take them out pretty easily. And they expanded it from 150 seats to 900 seats. They went, okay, these are enough seats where if we price it correctly, we can pay everybody. We can pay the 15 musicians we got, and we can break even at a decent rate. And we could probably make a profit after like a year, maybe a year and a half. And they move into the Broadway. And there used to be a clause in Broadway theaters. I don't think they have it anymore, where it didn't matter what show you were doing, how big the orchestra was. You had to have a minimum number of musicians in your theater. And the larger the theater, the higher the minimum. And so I believe the Broadway had like a 24, 25 musician minimum because it was at that time the largest Broadway theater.
Sure.
And Prince was like, we're only using 15 musicians. I'm not going to expand it to 25. And they went, well, then you're just gonna have to pay 10 extra musicians. It was like 8 or 10, something like that kind of number, which you would think shouldn't be enough to totally break the bank. But he's like, it made the difference of us making minimal profit on some weeks, breaking even other weeks, and then not breaking even other weeks. He's like, and without those salaries, we could have had a full year of either nothing but profit or breaking even.
Oof.
Yeah.
You're telling me 10 lucky musicians got a free paycheck for doing nothing?
He literally, he could not have been more. Having met Hal Prince, I will tell you, his greatest irksome, his like biggest pet peeve about Broadway was unions. And not because he obviously believed in, rights of the performers and the artists and whatnot, protection and whatnot. But he's like, now it's become all about money to the point where when he did Candide a second time on Broadway, he couldn't get ensemble members to like do certain things. As like a simple thing is like moving a stool from one side to the other, because they'd be like, that's a stagehand's job, and if you want me to do that, you're gonna have to pay me more. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? It's a stool, just move the damn stool.
What if your character really was?
Yeah.
Come on.
He's like, what am I supposed to do about this now? But yeah, it ran for about a year and a half. I don't think they even toured, which would have helped as well because of the environmental staging. They couldn't. But it does redeem Candide's reputation, and it actually wins some damn Tonys this time. They win 5, which is the most of any musical this season. It's also, I think, the only revival to win a Best Book Tony Award.
Yeah, I can't think of another one off the top of my head.
Well, I know Cinderella and Flower Drum Song both got nominated, but it's rare for a musical revival that has a new book to get nominated. That's rare.
Yeah.
And Candide's the only one to actually win.
Yeah.
And of course, at the time, Lillian Hellman's like, yeah, this is always what I wanted the show to be. And Bernstein's like, this is always what I wanted the show to be. And then after the show, after that version becomes like the version, then Lillian Hellman starts shit talking to everyone. She's like, everyone knows Hugh Wheeler's a hack. And I'm like, I don't know. He fixed Candide.
Spicy.
Whoop.
Hey,
But then here's the narrative we start going with Prince and with Candide in general. After that version happens, everyone's like, okay, now we know Candide can work in a way. And we have new versions of certain songs. We now have a new Best of All Possible Worlds. We have a new opening. Then Bernstein comes back. He's like, I think I want to, you cut some of my music, Hal. I think I want to put some of my music back in there. And Hal Prince is like, you know what? You're right. Let's make this a 2-act yet again. And I'll stage this for the New York City Opera. And then we can start licensing this version to opera houses around the world. But then they start doing that, and they still go with his whole like life's a circus aesthetic. They start doing that, and then opera houses around the world are like, but what if we added more music? And then other opera houses are like, what if we added more narration? And
no,
and then and then we get the National Theater production in 1999, which is literally like, what if we literally just put the entire book on stage? It's directed by John Caird, who co-directed Les Mis as Trevor Nunn and Nicholas Nickleby with Trevor Nunn. And he's like, okay, Nicholas Nickleby, we put the entire book on stage. Les Mis, we had everyone doubling as all the roles, and we had it singing all the time, and it was really big and really like just a 3.5-hour epic. It's like, what if I did the 3.5-hour length of Les Mis with everyone doubling as roles, and we did the Nicholas Nickleby thing where we just did the whole book on stage? And London kind of liked it. It ran for a year at the National and won Best Revival Tonys, and it actually is one of my favorite recordings of the show. It is probably the entire catalog of music that Bernstein's ever written for this show. Including a whole thing that shouldn't be there, which is called Money Money. It's a really pretty song, or 45 seconds long. It's really pretty melody, but it happens in a moment where it's like, and then Candide got some more money. Money, 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 money,
I was
money,
thinking that last
money.
night. It's gorgeous, and you're like, oh, okay. Let's do that for a minute. All right.
Oh, and like, there's a whole thing when the first time we find out that Pangloss is still alive, but he has syphilis due to Paquette. And then he's like, syphilis is great. It's for the best of all possible worlds. And
he sure does say that.
He has a song called Dear Boy, which is, I think it's always been in the show, or if not, it was cut and then brought back in for the Hal Prince 70s version, but it's relatively short. Normally it's like maybe 90 seconds. The National Theater version is like, no, 3.5 minutes. Like multiple verses of him saying everything's for the best. There is a great lyric in it where he says, if it weren't for the God damn it, why can't I find it? Oh, if it wasn't for I think it's called the spirochete, which is a bacteria that grows both in chocolate and is also the number is like the primary bacteria in syphilis, which is what Pangloss has because he's been sleeping with Paquette.
Yeah, like you do.
Like you do. And he loses his nose and one of his ears to it.
Yeah,
he says, if it weren't for the little spirochete, we'd have no chocolate to eat.
Yeah. He sure does say that. Yeah, that is a great lyric. I mean, you can see, I totally get the appeal of expanding, including more of that delicious music. I'm sure it's like irresistible temptation. Do you need to? Like, no, but like, I'm sure it's the kind of show where like when I'm there, I'm there. Like last night, I did not skip the Money song. I was kind of like, oh, like, show me. Why did you want to put this back in?
No, Show Me was the other musical of 1957. That was My Fair Lady. Your brain is
no, my head.
No, you're absolutely right. Like it's the issue with Candide. There are many issues, but like because the music is so fantastic, and we're going to talk about this in the next episode with our next show. But it works better with Candide. The music is so fantastic. It's less of an issue of the music not fitting and more just sort of having to be very ruthless of what you keep and what you don't.
Yes.
Because it all fits the story. And like Bernstein's music is really what kind of keeps things going. But you have to remind yourself, this show doesn't have a plot. It's a sequence of events that just keep on happening. It's how many times can we make Candide suffer? And at some point you have to be like, the night's got to end. Eventually.
At some point, like, the shine will wear off a little bit, even if it's just because you've been sitting up for too long. Like, and you'd like to stretch your legs. It's not a serialized TV show. Like, it's an evening.
Honestly, you could cut like half of Candide's adventures and half of Cunegonde's adventures and make it a more complete evening. And if you want to say to me, to my face, well, in the novella, I will say to you, in Les Mis, Fantine loses both her teeth. It ain't in the stage show.
Yeah, that's right, because books are not musicals. And if you would like the book version, read the book. It's still out there. I'm sure it's a great time. This is just not that. They can't be exactly the same.
Eponine stops a bullet with her hand in the book. In the
Excuse me.
Shaw, it happens the fuck off stage.
Excuse me.
Oh, she fully puts her hand over the barrel of a gun that's about to shoot Marius, and it shoots right through her hand, and that's what kills her.
That's hot. I'm here for it.
Yeah, but can you just
believe they didn't put that on stage? Actually, that is now.
the new and improved Les Mis is Lea Salonga in that trench coat going up to the barrel of the gun, and she's going, "Stop in the name of."
A little bit, I would love to watch that. A little bit, take all my money, and where do I go? And
but then just to go even further, we then include, speaking of Bernstein, One Hand, One Heart, after because she loses her hand.
This is the review.
Just becomes a review. One hand, one.
What a great death song, Matt. You genius. It's all coming together. You see how Candide inspires such creativity.
Dearest, how can this be so? You were dead, you know. You were shot and bayoneted too.
That is very true. Ah, but love will find a way.
Then what did you do?
We'll go into that another day. Now let's talk of you. You are looking.
Speaking of the National Theater, this brings me back to my other favorite Glitter and Be Gay, which is the Cunegonde of the National Theater recording, Miss Alex Kelly.
Heyo.
Now, Alex Kelly does not have the operatic luster in her voice of Cook and Chenoweth. It is much more of I'm a musical theater soprano who has the notes, but it's not like maybe she was classically trained. I don't know, but it doesn't sound that way. It sounds more like I just have the notes and it sounds healthy enough because it's more straight tone. It's a little pingier. It's a very nice sound to me. What makes her my third favorite Glitter and Be Gay, and I say this in terms of like my 3 in the echelon, not like my 1, 2, 3,
of course,
but like up there, is that listening to her, whereas like with Chenoweth, I only really I can, if I were to hear it alone, I would hear the France and I'd be like, that's funny. Yeah. Most everything else is the visual, right? It's like what she does visually with it.
It's very, you're right. It's very physically playful.
Yeah. Which is, that's what you do. The famous story with her with Wicked is like Joe Mantello, they get to popular and he's like, Cheno, Dina, go into that room for 3 hours while I work on this giant crowd scene. Come up with anything that goes in your brain and come back to me with all of your ideas. And then she came back with all of her ideas and he's like, great, cut, keep.
Amazing.
Yeah, because she's a physical genius.
Yeah.
Alex Kelly's Cunegonde, especially with Glitter and Be Gay, you listen to it. It's the funniest one that you could listen to. She really, and she's not being a clown about it. Like she definitely plays into the fact that like Cunegonde is miserable, but she understands that Cunegonde is a miserable Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
It's literally the Kim going, my earrings are lost in the ocean. It's very, Kim, your sister's going to jail. Will you please stop taking pictures of yourself? And this is someone who's never actually watched an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians in his life. I've seen all the promos though.
I feel like that's enough to get a flavor.
Exactly. This is so like I just think of this. She's the Kim Kardashian of her time. Mm-hmm. And so Alex Kelly she's a little whiny, she's a little prim, and so she has like certain line readings I just love where she goes during the spoken section of Glitter and Be Gay, the pearls and lavaliers, she goes bracelets, lavaliers.
The ruby rings can
she goes can they compensate could they compensate for my fallen state, purchased as they were at such an awful cost? Right? Funny. She's fucking funny.
Yeah.
And then she goes, and if you read the script, which I know I sent you the libretto for it, but it's a long libretto, so I did not expect you to read it all.
I read sections of it is what I did.
If you and what also makes it long is that John Caird, who wrote the new libretto for this based off of Hugh Wheeler's original, is he writes in every bit of stage direction that he did. So he's like, then Cunegonde turns left. She makes a face on this word. On this word, Candy needs to think this way. I'm like, that's what you did.
Yeah.
That's what you did. Let your words speak for yourself. Anyway, but on Glitter and Be Gay, he made it more of sort of like a mad scene, which is it is. You know, she's going a little insane.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he really goes full whole hog on it. Like by the end of it, she's like painting lipstick all over her face because she's like, "I'm pretty. I'm pretty. You want me to be pretty? I'm pretty for you, baby." But on the word diamond, when she goes, "Could the purest diamond purify my name?" And Alex Kelly goes like, "Could the purest diamond purify my name?" And in the stage direction, John Carrot is like, on the word diamond, she finally starts to smile again. And it's what we were talking about, where she's like, "Oh my God, I've been raped repeatedly, but my dresses are so cute."
Oh my God, but did you see this diamond though? Like, wow.
Like, my wig is 10 times more expensive than your house. So
I mean, she has that line later in some version where they lose all the money immediately, like they constantly do. And she's like, "Oh no, where will we find another Jew and Cardinal to get more?" I know. That's her first thought. It's like
she loses all of her jewels in the ocean. She's like, "Where am I going to find another Jew who'll give me all these diamonds
in exchange for sex, which I will do again to get more diamonds."
Why can I do for my diamonds? And when she tells Candide about all of it after You Were Dead, you know, she's just like very laissez-faire about like, "Yeah, you know, they raped me repeatedly every day for the last couple of months.
And here's the schedule, Candide." It was like him, and
she's
then
like, "Oh yeah, tomorrow it's him. Yeah, tomorrow it's him, today it's him." She's like, at that point, she's like, "I mean, I'm a little dead inside, but also like, look at my palace."
Yeah, it's hot, right?
Guys, hashtag booked and blast.
Yeah. That's truly the vibe. Like, Candide pulls it off. It's so charming.
I mean, that's sort of why the show needs that humor to it. A lot of versions sort of are weighted down by its self-importance, and
no, that's a mistake. I think that's
you do need to have a little bit. You do need to have a little bit of the human interaction about it, especially because
there are moments that drop in for sure.
Yeah, Candide is very much a pure character, and I was reading reviews when the Chenoweth version was being performed at the Philharmonic, and like all the reviews basically were like, "This cast is really dynamite." And they're like, and they all go, "It's such a shame Lonnie Price directed it."
And yet, of course, I rather like to revel. I have no strong objection to champagne. My wardrobe is expensive as the devil. Perhaps it is ignoble to complain. Enough.
As we said, like, the humor is very important to Candide. You cannot be weighed down by the self-importance of the fact that it's an opera. But when the music is telling you that it's earnest, let it be earnest. Because
It's speaking to like that accidental thing you said about Voltaire, which is he meant to write a comedy, and there is this thing that it came out of it, truth, real feeling, things that people resonate with, and both things should exist in the piece.
Candide, in a way, is sort of the inverse of Les Mis, in the sense that Les Mis is very long and very sad, and you need the Thénardier sometimes just to desperately. And when the show came out, a lot of people had a lot of issues that the Thénardiers were used as comedic relief. Like, they're truly monsters in the book, and I'm like, they're pretty much monsters on stage.
Oh yeah,
you need something. You need something, because the show is 3.5 hours long. Every 30 minutes, we just need a little aha.
And like in the context of that world, it is funny to do like dog eat dog in the sewers where they're stealing teeth or whatever. Like, that becomes funny in this context. I'll take what I can get in this world.
Absolutely. Candide is the inverse of that, where Candide is very light and very funny, sort of making humor of tragic situations constantly. And in order for a chance to breathe, we need a moment to remind ourselves that there is a person here at stake.
Yeah.
And there's something to connect to.
And like, I feel that there is like, it's in Candide himself. Like, he's such a cinnamon roll, and like, I don't want to watch this it's kind of funny, but I'm not deriving like just pure unadulterated cruel pleasure out of it. Like, you know, when he sees Cunegonde every time they meet again after they're separated for some insane reason, there's this, "Oh my God, they're doing it. Oh my God, they're doing it." Which I guess is why then they do the mask reveal in that one version, and you're like, "Oh my God, it's horrible."
Yeah.
But it still didn't work for me because masks, it's clearly them. Like, I don't know. The mask trope, I'm always like, all right.
Balls are really hard to do on stage. Balls.
Nice.
Balls. But no, it's doing a ball on stage is really hard. Any sequence in a theatrical show where it's like a dance scene It's like if you ever to do a musical version of Pride and Prejudice, as you know,
what? Who's doing that? Me?
Who would ever do that?
Yeah.
But it's because when we see it on film, you get different camera angles, whereas it's very stationary on stage. And so that's the situation where you would need a turntable because you need different perspectives. It just always needs to keep moving.
Yeah. Or really, really radically adapt it. Like I did.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Those things because they'll kill you.
It's why Jerome Robbins's and Paul Gennaro's Dance to the Gym and West Side Story is so iconic, is because they found a way into that by keeping the action moving, making sure that we always knew where to look. So even though the set is stationary, it never feels static.
Right. Absolutely.
And the Venice Gavotte, so much is happening on stage. It's part of the inclination is that we're supposed to be like lost in the shuffle of it all. But if everything is just sort of right there in front of us in wide shot, we don't, it just feels,
we can see, we have eyes. It's like the Cinderella thing of like, yeah, he can't see who fits the shoe, but like, did not he look at her face? Like, he can see her face.
He has face blindness, okay? It's a real thing. How dare you be so obtuse and rude about people with this affliction?
Part of the plot. I feel like they should have gone into that. I'm here for it.
It's implied. It's called nuance. Not everything has to be projected.
I missed it. The subtext was too subtle for me. Shit.
Yeah.
Back to grad school I go.
You know what wasn't too subtle and just got Tony nominated? Paradise Square. Anyway.
Don't get me started, Matt. I will fucking pop off. I will pop off on that. I know. So someone asked me my thought on it, and I said, imagine reading Racism for Dummies while Make Them Hear You blares in your ears, and So You Think You Can Dance is on mute in the background. That is that show in a nutshell. That is the most accurate description of it I've ever heard. I have not recovered from seeing it. I lost like all hope for a time.
The only thing that gives me hope is watching it lose every single category it's nominated in on that night in June.
Yeah,
but
that would help a little bit.
I do not wish ill on the performers on that stage. No. They're doing their darndest. Of course. But I think that show is absolute garbage. And I don't like seeing garbage or mediocrity rewarded, especially when we were having this reckoning about it.
Yes. You're truly just hearing you talk about it is healing my soul a little bit, because it was out there, and like reading the program notes on it when they were so smug about how great they thought it was, I was like ready to. I have never seen a more out of touch piece of theater, I feel, perhaps in my adult life.
It's just so it's the self-importance of ragtime with the can-do spirit of Newsy, and that is a terrible combination.
Yeah. Oh God, and I didn't even like the writing, to be honest. Like
I'm sorry, the writing? There were people who wrote that show?
I hope not, Matt. Like, I really hope not. I've tried to repress it.
You know what I just realized, by the way? My shirt matches my wall.
Oh my God, so cute. I
know. I didn't put any thought into this, much like the writers of much like the writers of ha 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 ha.
Back to a good show.
Back to a good score.
I'm not normally in favor of revivals over just the new work, but in this case, God, why didn't they just do Candide? Why didn't they just do that again?
Because no one remembers what makes it work anymore. Something I'd actually really appreciated about the Scottish opera version, which actually won the Olivier for Best Musical back in 1988 or 89, is while it can look a bit like a self-important opera production, and sometimes it is, obviously it's mostly cast with opera singers.
For sure.
They do have a sense of humor about it, which I really appreciate. They had a great, so one of the major things that sort of throws everything into turmoil before even the war happens, that like really starts Oh Happy We, is Paquette, who is, she's a serving girl, like a scullery maid or whatever at the palace, but she is allowed to study with everyone else, which I really appreciate.
They say in the narration she's very happy. She's the second happiest person in all of Westphalia.
Yeah, after Candide. And I think part of the whole happiness ranking is also just like the obliviousness of their situations. Like Paquette, I think Paquette does enjoy sex. I think she enjoys being wanted, and then I'm sure once life gets rougher and she sees other situations, she goes, oh, I don't love what I went through. But I mean, there's a great line in the Hugh Wheeler one when we first see her tying the Baroness into her corset, and the Baron says, I need Paquette to help oil my horses. And she's like, okay. And he says to Paquette, I'll meet you in the stables, bring the lubricant. And that's funny. The other thing, though, the one that's in the Scottish opera production that I don't think I ever have heard in any other script is, so after Best of All Possible Worlds, Cunegonde walks in on Pangloss and Paquette essentially having sex. Essentially, they're having sex. Yeah. And in the book, she sees it in the bushes and she realizes what's going on and she wants to practice it with Candide. And then every version of the script that includes it has altered exactly what's going on. Some make it that Cunegonde has no idea what's happening. Some do. The Scottish opera version, they put Paquette and Pangloss off stage. Usually it's happening on stage because we are dirty old men who love to see it. But they have it happen off stage and Cunegonde sees it and Candide comes up behind her. She's like, Candide, look, Pangloss is having a lesson on physics and body dynamics, whatever it is, with Paquette, and turning it into cause. And they're British, so she's saying into cause, but it sounds like intercourse. So she's like, intercourse, and Candide goes, intercourse, and then there's a beat. And she goes, into cause and effect, and I'm like, well. Fucking done, Scottish opera.
Yeah, I loved that. I thought that was super funny.
I love a good play on words.
Yeah, and it really it sounded like they knocked the delivery out of the park in that moment.
What is it, you cunt face?
Yeah. What is it I can't face? Indeed, Matt. I don't know. So hard.
Soon there'll be little ones beside us. We'll have a sweet Westphalian home.
Somehow we'll grow as rich as Midas. We'll live in Paris when we're not in Rome.
Smiling babies,
marble halls,
Sunday picnics,
costume balls. Won't my robes of silk and satin be chic? I'll have all that I desire.
Oh, but do you know that Oh Happy We was originally supposed to be in West Side Story?
What? No. What? Sorry, my brain has to adjust to this.
Well, so one of the things about Candide that's interesting in West Side Story is because they were written pretty close together. A lot of the music got swapped.
So funny.
So the G Officer Krupke was supposed to be in Candide. The melody for that song was Where What's the Use Is Now.
Oh my God.
And then it was like, this doesn't really fit. So he took the melody and then was like, Sondheim, write a song here for the Jets. And it became Officer Krupke. One Hand, One Heart was going to be, I believe, where Candide and Cunegonde now sing Oh Happy We.
Wow. Yeah, that makes some sense. But gosh, what a life.
What a life. Yeah.
What a brain to just be able to distribute these melodies to two masterpieces.
I know. But also, like, this also shows you that while Bernstein was an absolute genius, he didn't always get it right on the first time, because when I tell you that Oh Happy We, or at least the melody for Oh Happy We, was supposed to be Where Tonight Is Now in the balcony scene.
Ruh-roh.
You're like, I can't imagine it. And then on top of that, he swaps out. He goes, oh, big mistake. Huge. And so he takes the One Hand, One Heart song from Candide, and he's like, we're going to put it in West Side Story. That'll be in the balcony scene. And that was where it was for a while until Oscar Hammerstein came in, and he was like, no. He's like, these two have just met. They're getting in love and they're fucking horny. Give them a melody that has some hormones to it. And Bernstein's like, oh, I never thought of it that way. I guess when you are 17 and you meet someone you want to fuck, you like have some energy about it.
Oh, yes. Precious memories. Thank God these geniuses had so many genius friends to crack the code with them over time.
What a time to be a creative on Broadway in the 50s, when like everyone was so good at what they did and not everyone batted 1,000. So like it was great to have a friend come in who also was good at what they did and be like, 80% of this is there. Here's the 20%. It's like, great. Instant classic.
We love. Thank God, because look where we are now. Look what we get to enjoy.
Yeah, we have the brilliance of Paradise Square.
That's my glitter and be gay moment.
We have Shalina Kennedy coming on and going, I'm pregnant. Arr!
I'm bad, playing such a very dirty trick on such a fine land. I'm a low cat. Every time I do this sort of thing, it makes me so sad, ever so sad. Oh, but I'm bad, ever so bad. Voyage, 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 voyage.
You know what's
Too
also
much.
too much? The score to Candide. There's too much music. Too many notes. Too many notes, guys, eh?
Good segue back to home to sweet
what's-
dear Candide.
Okay, you want to know what might be actually my favorite lyric in the show, though?
Do tell.
It is Bon Voyage.
Yes. Okay. It's amazing. I'm obsessed with that. I love that number.
It's a great
And
number.
also he goes on forever. I love that we sit with a character. It's just this guy who just sells Candide like a shoddy boat. He takes his fancy golden sheep and he just sings this fucking song where he's like, I scammed him. Should I feel bad? I kind of don't. I only live for greed. It goes on and on. I love it.
I know it's a 3-minute song for a character we never see again. And first of all, she's a bop. It's a boppy song.
Oh, absolutely.
Boppy song. Lyrics are great. Such good lyrics. My needs are as dry as an apple core, and my only desire is greed.
Yes. My only desire is greed. What a lovely thing for a character to explicitly say with words.
It's my desire is as dry as an apple core, and my only emotion is greed.
My only emotion. I just love when characters like stamp themselves like that, like in a tone like this. In a
way of it's, and because Candide is a very specific style of musicale.
Yes,
it is. The characters can be self-aware in a way that they wouldn't be in life because it is very presentational.
Yes.
In the original libretto, in the original Hellman libretto, I believe they took that random ass character and combined it with the governor of Buenos Aires, who desires to marry Cunegonde, although in the revised version it's Maximilian in drag. Yeah, which I think that was an invention for the revival. I don't know if that's in the novella or not.
Yeah, I don't know if that's in the novella either.
The 70s really liked to play around with gender, not in a way that's super progressive, but at least they were doing it. Like,
yeah, it's somewhere in the middle. Like you don't watch it and you're like, oh no, and you don't watch it and you're not like, oh yeah, like wow.
Like Maximilian is never uncomfortable in drag. He's doing it solely to survive.
Yeah.
And then the irony is that because he's such a handsome man, he puts on drag on, like, he basically looks like his sister. So of course everyone's like, who are you? How do I get to be with you? And part of him loves the attention. Part of him is also like, in order to survive, I have to agree to the governor who wants to have sex with me. But he's going to find out that I've got junk he doesn't want. So in order to prolong this, I'm going to get him to marry me. And the governor's like, well, I'm going to hate it, but you're hot. So sure.
Yeah. He sure does explicitly say that. Yes.
Yeah. And the same thing is true with Cunegonde. And so Bon Voyage originally is sung by that character, which makes sense because, like, you know what? Because his original desire is to get Candide out of the way, and Candide has all this money. But no, in the novel, it's just a dude who Candide comes back from El Dorado with so much gold and so many jewels and
such conspicuous sheep. You know, they really are. They grab attention.
Yeah, they're pink sheep, which I think he's storing all of it in the sheep, like they're drug mules.
Yeah, they're like carrying it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he has all these sheep, and one dies and one falls over, but he still has 2 sheep, which, like, apparently the way that El Dorado works is, you know, the streets are paved with gold, filled with jewels, everyone there is happy all the time, and like it means nothing to them. So basically a handful of diamonds or jewels or whatever from El Dorado is enough to last you a lifetime of luxury in the rest of the world. So he walks and they give him everything. They're like, take it, we don't need it. So he goes away from El Dorado with, you know, enough to last him 1,000,000 lifetimes. And then by the time he gets off the boat with the 2 sheep, it's enough to last him 10 lifetimes. And so then this governor gives him a shitty boat, takes half of his stuff away. So Candide still has enough to last him 3 lifetimes. And then he sings Bon Voyage, which again, super bop, amazing lyrics. And just like great for a comic actor who gets to sort of get a bit of a princess track and stop the show cold.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's like Candide can get away with things that I would be like in another show because they do it so well. And it just, the absurdist tone of it all can hold so much playfulness, which is why, again, I'm not surprised that people are tempted always to expand it because you could play there forever. But should you be judicious? Judicious is all I'm saying. It's a night at the theater.
It's a night at the theater.
We get stiff. Our old bones, they get tired sitting in a chair.
So I should also just say, because I truly don't know what's going to happen with the audio with this. When we were recording, I did not realize that my AirPods became my speakers for my computer. So I was hearing Jess very muddled. I could understand her, but muddled. And then her audio just cut out completely. And I went, oh no, something happened. And I thought it was just because I was so funny that I blew Jess's mic out.
I
But
did
no, I'm
laugh
pretty
very hard.
And now I'm hearing her clear as a bell, and I'm not sure if Zoom's gonna work that way or not. I don't know how Zoom works. I don't know if like your mic and the quality of that is what Zoom's catching, or if it's catching what my my speakers are catching. I don't know. Unclear.
Me neither. I don't know. That's not where my area of expertise is.
Nope. I'm not a techie.
We're artists.
We're artists. We're the talent.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I went to grad school for musical theater writing. So
if anyone's complaining about the audio quality at the beginning, just know I did my best. I didn't know. How was I to know?
We're sorry. We do the best we can.
best
Now
we
you
can.
appreciate the clear ending.
Yeah. Now I was like, oh my God. Listen, it's just like Candide. After
It's
all
just
this,
like Candide.
after all this metalness, now it's clear as a bell, and we get to our ending. Which, well, okay, we'll get actually the old lady and her one buttock. I'm easily assimilated. Fun song, and I think it's the only song that Leonard Bernstein wrote lyrics to. Everything else is like a million other people. Yeah,
checks out.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. We Are Women. You mentioned she's delightful. They mentioned their vaginas without actually saying their vaginas. They said parts we cannot mention but we know exist.
Yeah, and also my favorite is memorable memories like Alpine Peaks. That is in that song. It's just fun in a song and a show with so much casual absurdist rape for them to be like, we're so powerful. People will just do anything if they see my leg. Like it's fun to watch them sort of bask in that power and have a little buddy number, a little kind of passing the Bechdel test in some ways. We're not really discussing men so much as sexuality.
Yeah, they're discussing about when men come up in that song, it's more about how they react to them.
Yeah. There's something powerful about it, and in a very feminine way that I think is kind of delightful.
Yeah, but it's all in the tone of silliness, which is why it works.
Exactly.
And no matter what you have to say about those characters, they are survivors. They make it to the end of the show alive,
and
as
they have
does
some
Paquette.
sort of, yeah, absolutely. They have some sort of kinship between them that is like sort of like genuine that I like. You know, like that could be Cunegonde in 20 years, 30 years. I don't know how old she is.
That's
but
definitely
we consider
how
an old woman to be.
Yeah, that's definitely how the novella kind of portrays it, is that Cunegonde is on her way to becoming the old woman.
Yeah.
Because the way Voltaire describes it is she has become ugly, but nobody told her.
Oh, Voltaire.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's that interesting thing where no one really talks to about it. Like when those movies or those shows or those books where like the mom is considered sort of matronly and not very attractive, and she has these beautiful daughters, and you go, how could that be? And no one ever talks about like, well, what are the daughters going to look like in 30 years?
It's this crazy thing that actually a lot of people in musical theater have never heard of, which is called like women age. like living beings. Actually, we do get older and our bodies change just like anything alive. So it can blow the mind from time to time, but aging is really all. Beauty is work and beauty is pain, and what is beauty? And that would be a whole different podcast by me and my little soapbox.
That's why it's always like in the eye of the beholder. Someone wrote on Broadway World once, and if you're on Broadway World, you know exactly who this person is. They are annoying, to say the least. And a woman, which really surprised me in terms of like their rather sexist attitude towards
always
performers.
Breaks my heart. They're out there.
Literally saying like, nobody wants to see not hot people on stage deal with it. And I'm like, but what is hot?
Yeah. And I'm like, based on what you think is hot, probably I do. Do you know one of the most, I love Come From Away first and foremost, because I went to a theater and I saw people who looked like people, human beings.
Yeah.
Let's set a standard that we're allowed to exist in the bodies that we have and are.
Absolutely. And they're also good at what they do. And they played people.
They played people, and like all shows in theory are depicting people. We have plenty of shows about the hottest people alive. I'm kind of interested in the other people.
I would be less frustrated about the super hot people on stage if I thought all of them were extraordinarily talented and gifted and special. But when they are wallpaper, and sometimes when that wallpaper sometimes gets nominated or wins awards for performing, I'm like, Can we not?
Yeah. And I just feel, and then I will get off my soapbox, I swear, and get back to Candide, that the most moving thing about theater for me is that when you see yourself or some of your experience or some of your emotions on stage, you feel like profoundly less alone. And I think that that is just especially true when you can see yourself on stage. And that is about representation. And representation includes many things: body size, race, gender, sexuality. And I just would like to see more everything. There's room for it.
Yeah, well, that's what I've always said. That's the answer. It's just more and more and more. No, there's no one show, one thing, one person who's going to be the total package answer. We just keep on going for more, and it's not to undermine the works that come out that are piling onto it. And
I love everything that's come, and now I just want more.
Absolutely. More, please. More.
Yes, please. More.
Yeah. That is our Glitter and Be Gay. I want more.
Oh, beautiful.
More.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
More jewels, more diamonds, more please.
More jewels, more diamonds, more Jews to have
More
sex
Jews.
with me and give me jewels and diamonds.
That Jew puts the Jew in jewels.
Yeah. Listen, hey.
Hey. And then he dies and puts the die in diamond.
He sure does. It's just great. The way that Candide stabs people is different production to production, but it's all just so one stab right away. Yep. The sword comes from nowhere. Sometimes it's usually nothing. Like it's his hand. Yeah. Oh no, I have killed again.
It's really like he tripped over a pebble. I have killed again. Oh
no. Why does this keep happening to me?
What happened to me? Candide is literally a himbo. I mean, he's a totally sweet himbo. He really means cinnamon well, which is why we don't. Yeah, cinnamon roll. But it's like every time he's like, "Look what happened, my chicken."
Yeah, he really. And like he knows at some point when he kills the Jew, it's kind of a reaction. When he kills the cardinal 5 minutes later, he's like, "Oh shit! Oh, I have to kill him too, don't I? Oh, I'm really sorry. Okay, you're dead." Yeah,
Kunaganda's totally. Yeah, you do. Go for it.
Yeah. It's like, truly. Yeah. It's like, that was full murder. Like,
Kuniganda is the most like Becky of all Lady Macbeths that ever have been Lady Macbeth. Whereas Lady Macbeth is like, kill for power. Kunaganda's like, you have to kill. You gotta do it.
Come on, let's go. I have all these diamonds.
And then we can Instagram it later. Come on. Do it for the likes. Do it for the follows.
It truly is the vibe very deeply.
Hashtag Murdered Monday.
Hey,
so Kuniganda goes from there to Loaf of Bread, which is where we're at in Make Our Garden Grow. After all the bullshit that these people go through, and Candide basically says, enough is enough. And we have, so as I said, we get to this point in two different ways. We either have the original version or the way that the Scottish opera did it, which is the Venice Gavotte, where Candide is rich, Kuniganda becomes a whore bandit, and he's like, look what you've become, whore bandit. He has a whole like 11 o'clock Rose's turn number. No, he has a whole how did we come to this from Lippa's Wild Party, where he's like, look at you all, humanity's dead.
And she just kind of stands there like, what? This is not how my day was supposed to go.
Or Kuniganda's like, I thought I was gonna rip off some rich bimbo, but here I am feeling bad about myself.
Yeah,
Whoops.
So much guilt. Ouch. Bye.
I didn't come to this ball to feel guilty. But so that's one way that we get to like Make Our Garden Grow. The other one is that they finally, as a troupe, reach the most intelligent man, or like the wisest man in the world, who ends up being Pangloss.
Of course, alive again.
Yeah, and I love Candide's like, I saw you get hung at the Inquisition, and Pangloss is like, did that happen? I guess it did.
Still my favorite joke. Always gets me.
Yeah, it's very, I guess that did happen vibes. And he doesn't explain in the same way that we never really find out why the old lady has one buttock. I believe there's one version that implies it was cut off to feed a battalion.
Yeah, like cannibalism. And they were like, cut one buttock off of every woman and it will be delicious and they will survive.
Yeah. There's a version of it where she's telling her life story in the boat. And it's the whole point of the story is when Kuniganda's like, you don't know suffering, and she's like, let me tell you about how I have the one buttock, and then goes on this really long story about her life that doesn't end in her talking about how she has the one buttock. But in it, and I think it's just in the 70s Wheeler libretto, where she's talking about how she's about to get raped by like the general of this army, and he's lying on top of her, and he looks at her with tears in his eyes. And he go, what? And she goes, and then he said, what a terrible time to be a eunuch.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was in the 88 too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great, like, and again, tells you about the show where, like, the show is not telling you that sexual assault is funny. In fact, like, it just literally be gay is almost like the Pussy Pop and Aria telling you about, like, survivor's remorse and PTSD,
Yeah,
and
they're
how that
holding
affects
it
a
up
person.
as like, oh, this is the best of all possible worlds. We're gonna say the worst of all possible things.
Yeah, absolutely. But so it's just, it is able to have fun with the
Mhm.
toxicity of humanity in the same way
Yeah.
that, like, a Martin McDonough play does, you know? So they're not saying, like, this is something to laugh at, but more sort of like, we're going to show you really terrible things, and the genius of us is you are still going to laugh about it.
Yeah, they really, really pull it off. I would be the first to say if they didn't. I think
Yeah.
it's so lighthearted, and when you just do it well, they
When
did
you
it.
do it well, when you do it well, you do it well. But so this
Voltaire
is,
was onto something.
he was. This is to say, we get to make our garden grow. The song that now makes me cry,
Mm.
and no version that I've watched yet that's, like, staged has really done it in a way that I would like to see it done, because it is a truly earnest
Yeah.
song.
Mhm.
Because it's all about, there really is no meaning to it all, and nothing really is of any part of major plan. We
Mhm.
are all just ants. And what do we do? Well, contribute to the world, be a person of the world, and try to make make one square of the earth a little better than when you found it,
Mhm.
which is very humbling to think about, but very true. Which is to say, like, no matter who you are in the world, you are still in this world along
Mhm.
with everyone else. We are no different from Kim Kardashian, despite the fact that she's got all the money and all the fame.
Mhm.
She's still just flesh and blood in a collection of molecules like we are,
Mhm.
which is why I love Cunegonde's lyric. So, like,
Mhm.
Candide has his opening lyric, which, you've been a fool, so have I. And there's the great lyric that everyone sings, which is, we're neither
Poor nor wise nor rich.
we're neither pure nor wise nor good. That's the lyric.
Yes, good.
We're
Yes.
neither pure nor wise nor good.
Nor good.
We'll do the best we know.
we can. Yeah, we know.
Best we know, because it's got to rhyme with grow.
Right, has
Idiot.
to. Oh my God, truly, Matt. Yes, you can't forget the rhyme.
It's true. Well,
Jesse.
You always think it's gonna be, we'll do the best we can, but it can't be can.
I can. We'll do the best we know.
Yes.
It's more iconic anyway.
Yeah,
A little something on it.
absolutely. Well, because that's the other thing is, when people say I'm doing the best that I can, it's like you're doing the best you know how to do.
Yeah.
You don't know if
it's a little more specific.
Yeah, because we don't know if it's the best of your abilities. You have to know more to know what your abilities could be. But this is say Cunegonde's lyric. She sings, I thought the world was sugar cake, or so our master said, but now I'll teach my hands to bake our loaf of daily bread.
Mhm.
Gorgeous. First of all, the imagery of that alone is gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sugar cake and then bread. And that she's going to teach herself to do it, that she's going to contribute, because up until then, Cunegonde is not actually a person in the world. She's learning how to survive, but she's learning how to survive by having other people take care of her.
Yeah.
By being the concubine of the rich Jew and I guess the Sultan or the Sheik or whatever it is, like, she is giving herself up to them, but they are providing her with everything. She's not earning it herself outside of them. She's relying on their wealth. And so she's saying, I now understand that I need to have skills and to contribute to living, to help you live so we can live. And I listened to it, and again, speaking of the Kardashian of it all, it's me saying to myself, like, who are you in this world? Who cares if you get the biggest slice of sugar cake? Can you bake a loaf of bread?
Yeah.
What are you bringing to the table?
And isn't that, like, probably ultimately a little more fulfilling than just receiving sugar cake? Like, what's good is what we make, what we do. Like, there's something very, like, true about the simple happinesses that are always within your reach, even when everything is horrifying around you out there. We look to, like, small community, and we look to small acts. And I don't know. I think small things are big things. You baked a loaf of bread. There's a reason a lot of people started baking in the pandemic. It's because, like, you accomplished something, you made that, and then you eat that. Like,
Look, I made a hat. Look,
I made a hat. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly that. Oh, now I'll cry a little bit.
I thought the world was sugar cake, for so our master said. But now I'll teach my hands to bake our
there's a balance to it all. Did you ever see Everyday Rapture with Sherry Renee Scott?
I have not.
It was good. In my opinion, should have won Best Book of a Musical and Best Actress in a Musical that year, but whatever. The show begins and she talks about how I guess she was in Times Square. She was somewhere, and this rabbi, I guess, like picked her out of the crowd. He's like, you need to have 2 slips of paper, one in each pocket. One says, I am a speck of dust, or I'm a speck in the world or whatever. And the other one is, the universe was created for me.
Yeah.
And it's the boldness to try with being humble enough to know that you are one of billions and will continue to be one of billions and have been one of billions. And everything in this world, it passes, and luxurious things are wonderful. To quote Bob's Burgers, nice things are nice.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to downplay that either.
Certainly not.
I'm not trying to
it easy. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to overplay when someone's like, I took 2 steps outside today and then went back inside. It's like, good for you, honey.
Yeah. There's a balance in the world.
Yeah. But it's the idea of just trying to do anything and then trying to and learning more about it so you can do it to the best of your ability. And as you said, it's always about the more, just always trying to make something better. It's why I hate participation medals, not to sound like a boomer conservative, but it's sort of like, what's the point of even striving to go further than you ever possibly could if like everyone around you is going to do mediocre and get a ribbon anyway?
Yeah. And it's like also just succeeding at the task is its own reward. Do we need little plastic trophies at all?
Right.
I played softball as a kid, like the young lesbian that I did not know I was. And, like the fun part was doing it. I have all those trophies, but I don't really care about them.
Well, I think there's something to recognize when someone is attempting, but when you, again, and this goes back to Make Our Garden Grow and Candide and all of it is just, when you you can get away with mediocre and still get praise, that's when we stop growing as a society. You're always aiming for improvement. Even if it's 1 square inch, you are trying to make better that square inch of the world, as opposed to just looking around you and going, fine enough, and maintaining,
Yeah, absolutely. And small things are big things. If they just take care of each other, that's enough. Like if they just have that garden, that's enough. Anything can be enough if you sort of choose it, if you make it, if you imbue it with meaning. And it's kind of fun, like in a musical about philosophy where it's so much of it is just shitting on optimists, which mostly I'm like, yeah, it's too much. And then sometimes I'm like, okay, well, we have to get through the day though, guys.
Yeah.
They arrive at someplace really thoughtful, like they have an answer almost for you. And it's like kind of a remarkable place to end. As a philosophy minor, I will tell you, I ended every essay with, we can't really know anything, so I can't really like presume to say anything. And I received A after A for that argument, but like, that's a little empty. Candide does more. Candide offers you something lovely at the end of like a pessimistic jaunt. It's just like, it's a very glorious ending. I think it speaks to why it's so affecting.
Yeah, it's very earnest, very grand. What I would like to see do in a production of Candide, because there's also that a cappella section when they do that, we're neither pure nor wise nor good. So I'm stealing from Pippin here. But as we get to that final number, especially, if you're doing the whole, like, it's all a circus and it's all theatrical, whatever, as that number happens and everyone starts to sing, like everyone starts to take off their costumes, not to the point that they're naked, but just that they're in their regular street clothes.
Yeah.
And the set kind of starts to go away. So we're on a bare stage, the lights kind of come up. So we're taking away all the artifice of this. So this really, like, this song that's all about just honesty and earnestness, we're literally taking away all the theatrical artifice. So we're just stating the fact. And then as we build to that a cappella moment, everyone takes off their mic packs. So that a cappella moment happens
Aw.
with pure voices just singing out into the auditorium. So the last artifice of Broadway is stripped away, and it's just people singing to people about people.
That's so lovely, Matt. My goodness.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
should be a director.
Get in there. Go mount
Yeah.
that production. Build the
I
world you
will.
want to see. I'll show up. I'll buy
Okay.
all the tickets.
I mean, it's no Mary Zimmerman and flowers growing out of the sky, but it's fun. It's fun. It's the one thing about that song that every time I watch it, I'm like, there's something missing about this. While the music is so gorgeous and everyone's singing it so beautifully, I'm like, it's such a like, no, all out on the table, no sheen to it. So when I see like beautiful lighting and costumes and like set pieces moving around, part of me just goes, it's a little too fake. Even when like people on stage are going like, yes, emotion. I'm like, it's still a little fake. So I want the least amount of fakery when that song happens.
I think that's so nice, and such a nice a way to heighten where we land, which is we've been so high in the sky absurdist the whole time. It's been hilarious romp, nonstop moving, traveling, raping, dying, war, death, hanging, and we get to land here. I think it's a lovely idea that you would just shed all of that to arrive at sort of like, it feels like the answer at the end of a lifetime, and it's like being handed to you now, and you're like, whatever, I'm still alive enough that I could take these words and get out there and be the best Jessie Field I can be.
You know what it reminds me of? I'm assuming you saw Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yes?
I haven't yet. I'm going to see it next week. I had a busy week.
Okay. It's really fantastic. It's everything you think it's going to be and nothing at all like you think it's going to be.
Yes. I'm so excited.
But it reminds me of, and the first time I actually ever heard this was on the show You're the Worst, where the two main characters, who are terrible people, they eventually get married, and they first get freaked out by the idea of marriage until they realize that, like, because people keep saying forever. And they basically just go, no, just every day I'm going to wake up and choose you. And then maybe there will come a day where I don't, but as long as like every day we wake up and we go, we still choose to like be together, right? Great. Okay, moving on. And then we like flash forward and they eventually have a kid and they have a life and all this stuff. And eventually they stop thinking about how every day they have to make the choice, and it's just instinctual. But it's the same thing, without giving too much away, about Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's like life, especially the way that movie works, it's like craziness. And I get the idea of how it's both, everything is meaningless and yet all important at the same time. So why even bother? And then that's sort of what the main character goes. It's like, yeah, so why am I still choosing it? And not in a way of, first in a way of like, why would I do that? But then it's like, well, it's got to mean something if I'm always still going to choose it. So even if it's like not a definitive answer, or like the answer to end all answers, the fact that every day I wake up and I choose to be me and be with you and contribute to our life together, like that's the meaning, isn't it? It's not, it's not Moses coming down with the 10 commandments, but it's something. It's something. Yeah. I would, title of the show has that song, I'd rather be 9 people's favorite thing than 100 people's 9th favorite thing. It's like, I'd rather make my square inch of land better by the time I'm dead than have 10 miles of land and not do a single thing with it.
Absolutely. It's what you choose, and that we get to choose what matters to us and what is meaningful. It's like so heartening that something is in your control, because so much of Candide feels like everything is out of their control. You don't choose war, you don't choose rape. What do they get to choose? Ultimately, they get to choose their day, their life, their little square of land. And it's like gorgeous, because so too can we all. And our gardens all look different and our passions are all different, but we do get to choose. And it's a nice antidote to like the hopelessness, I think, that we sometimes fall prey to in this big, cold, unfeeling world with climate change everywhere.
But it's, and yet somehow still the best of all possible. It's interesting. And it's always fascinating to hear different perspectives on both positivity and negativity of the world, of things that seem terrible that could possibly be good to someone else, and things that seem amazing to us that could be possibly be terrible to someone else.
Yeah, absolutely true. And that's ultimately my favorite thing about Candide is it gets us all talking about philosophy and the literal meaning of life. Here we are having such like a gorgeous conversation about that. And it's such a playful romp with just like gorgeous music. And then you're just thinking about it. There's a lot there to mine.
Do you not have philosophy conversations after you see Mame?
Well, I have not. yet.
Open a
But
new
I feel
window,
like,
bitch.
Matt, I'm really limiting myself. Thank God I came here to learn that.
Live for today. That's what Mame says.
You're
Honestly,
racist.
living for today is another kind of toxic philosophy, because if you live a whole day and you go, did I really live for today? You get down on yourself. Sometimes living for the moment is just living in the moment. And sometimes that means lying in bed and watching Netflix till 3 a.m.
Sometimes that's the best thing in the whole world.
Yeah. It's about variety. Like any good garden, variety of vegetables.
Yes. So true. Variety of life.
Yep. You have your slothy tomatoes, you have your vibrant kumquats, you have your productive cucumbers, and then you have your sluggish parsley.
Yeah. And then some flowers just cause they're pretty. They'll die. You can't eat them. Maybe you could eat them. I don't know.
Some flowers you can, sure.
Some
garnish. And they will eventually die, but then new ones will grow.
Yeah, and everything eventually dies. And like Mufasa says in the Lion King, the circle of life, baby. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you'll turn into the worms.
You know what? I don't remember that line, but now that you say it, it rings a bell. I recall James Earl Jones saying, "The circle of life, baby. Eventually you'll become worms."
Yeah, I'm just like super off book for every piece of content in the whole world. It's pretty cool. It's a cool thing about me.
That's why we're iconic.
Yeah, look at us go.
Look at us go. I mentioned it earlier when you were away and now you're back. And we did get a third production of Candide on Broadway, our second revival, once again directed by Hal Prince, at the Gershwin Theater, which was most importantly done for two things. One, Jason Danieley's Broadway debut, right after doing Floyd Collins, and he's just gorgeously sung Candide. But Jim Dale was Voltaire Pangloss and the dude who sings Bon Voyage.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know if the New York City Opera version is what started that, or if it really happened with that production, but like because Jim Dale is Jim Dale, Versal, whatever, they're like, he'll play a million different roles. And so the show also became like a star vehicle for him, which again is like not really the point of Candide. It's not supposed to be a star vehicle for anyone. Everyone's supposed to get a chance to shine. But then they also like expanded the role of the old woman for Andrea Martin and gave her all these added songs. So they took the Life is Happiness Indeed melody and gave her what they called the old lady's false first entrance and second entrance, which is like, it was Andrea Martin coming on stage and being like, I'm Andrea Martin and I'm off stage waiting, and you all know that I'm going to be the secret weapon. Bring me on stage already. Let's get going with the plot. And I'm like, you want to know what's stopping the plot? Your songs.
Yeah.
Contributing to the problem, Andrea.
The irony of it all. So Candide.
When the thing you love is the thing that's poisoning your well.
Dark days.
Dark days today. Yeah. So just let's wrap this up with some rapid fire questions.
Let's do it.
Question numero uno. Over, under, or estimated? Do you think this show is overestimated, underestimated, or estimated?
It's a hard one because like I don't have a good sense of public opinion on this show. I would say under, because I think that most of my friends have not really heard of it or have not seen it. And I just think that people should. I'm going to go under because I haven't heard anybody else besides you, Matt, like gush over it with me since high school. It was estimated in high school in New Jersey, Montgomery Township. And
that one time.
Yeah.
I would say it's underestimated by a lot of musical theater fans and a lot of opera fans. I think for opera people, it's not operatic enough. And for musical theater fans, it's too operatic. Yeah. So I think it's a little underestimated in that respect. I think musical theater fans who are opera buffs overestimate the show because they're like, enough with the comedy. It's important. And I'm like, sit the fuck down, Jezebel.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I thought of Jezebel.
No, she should sit down.
You sit down, Jezebel. No one's named you anymore. That's right. You don't get to just be a Betty Davis movie anymore. Where I think it's properly estimated is by us.
Yeah, I agree with that. We really nailed it.
Do you ever walk around, Jess, and just go, oh, God, it's such a burden to be right all the time?
About half the time. And the other half of the time, I'm like, God damn it, Jessie, you idiot.
We are hot dum-dums, just like Candide and Antony.
That's right. It is hard to be this hot and this dumb.
I know. Look what happened by accident.
Oh, I killed 3 guys today.
That's our people go, do your best impression of Candide. And I go, I killed by accident. While we shake our fucking tatas.
I feel like we knocked it out of the park. Yeah, that's Candide in a nutshell.
Candide in a nutshell. You have to squeeze your if you're men, you have to squeeze your boobs together, shake and go, I killed by accident.
And then it's like, you've seen it. You did it in 1 minute.
Exactly. Describe Les Mis in under a minute. We're all poor and dead. There you go. So
I mean, when you're right, man.
You're right.
Hey.
Second question, the missing link. What do you think is missing from the show that could really kind of make it indestructible, do you think?
Yeah, I do think it's the tightness. I'm not sure exactly like where the scale would hit perfectly, but I bet there's a balance that is close, like with the right amount of adventure that gets us there and we don't get tired of it. Because there are certainly, the thing about episodic shows like this is you could pull out almost anything and it would work overall, except for the beginning and the end. But so it's just like finding the exact right amount of Candide. Like, was it that hour 40 version with no intermission? Like maybe, or was it that just exactly 2 hours, a little break? Maybe, but I think finding the exact right balance of adventure would get most people through it in an enjoyable way.
I would say if your production of Candide goes over 2.5 hours, something's wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, that is the absolute maximum amount of time you're allowed to do Candide. And if that is the amount of time, there will be an intermission in there.
Yes. Yes, please.
Yes. If it's intermissionless, if you go past 2 hours.
Oh, impossible. You can't.
I mean,
there will be an intermission. People will create it when they leave to pee when they must. And good luck to the poor ushers.
Oh, God bless them. Last question. Castaway. Who would you like to see in a production of Candide?
Oh my God, what a great question.
I ask it in different ways for every episode, and yet my guests who keep coming back are like, oh God, I didn't think of this. I'm like,
I know. And in this moment, I'm like,
about it.
Because I bet, like, given 10 minutes, I would have a great answer for you. I would just love to see like someone unexpected. I feel like every version of Candide is just like regular white people, which is fine, but like, shake it up, like make it, you don't need to, that's not a part of the story in any meaningful way. I
would argue it would help audiences with the detachment of the monstrosity if you do color conscious casting, so you don't think of it too literally and think of it more abstractly. And then on top of that, you open up the door to a myriad of talented people that I think I used myriad incorrectly, but whatever, of talented individuals who otherwise maybe have never gotten to do the show.
Yeah, it's a fine line, because I totally agree. You don't want to think about so much trauma on anybody in a minority, but also it's fun and funny. And how do we let them in on that? Yeah.
I mean, like that's sort of the thing with Cunegonde is, yes, she goes through all this stuff. But again, you know, it's done with such a light touch, but on the other end, like there's so many sopranos out there. They're like, I just want to show off and be funny.
Yeah.
Can you just let me?
Exactly.
I've done a couple of gigs for this one company. I won't say their name, and they're not really the ones to blame. It's the client who is to blame. But I had to do a web event with 2 actors from Hamilton, and it was for this corporate gig or whatever. And usually it's like, you know, tell us about a time when like the turntable broke. Oh, what's your favorite song in Hamilton? And then like 5 minutes before, I was told, oh, by the way, this company's been doing a lot of work on diversity, equity, inclusion, blah, blah, blah. Like, could you talk about that with the actors and their experiences in the business? So I was like, okay, first of all, I am white. Second of all, like, that's not something that I just throw together.
Throw in 5 minutes before. Yeah.
And so I had to message both actors privately. And I was like, I'm so sorry for what's about to happen. I'm going to do my best with no preparation, but like, this is what they're asking. They didn't tell me until just now. I'm so sorry. Like, please, like, know that anything I say is meant to like just try to make the best of this. Totally. And I'm probably gonna fuck up. And they both said, and I quote, it's okay. You know, we deal with this all the time now, which broke my heart. It's like, because with an event like that, they've signed on just wanting to talk about like, yeah, when I auditioned or when my corset broke, and all of a sudden it's like, well, now I got to talk about my experience in the industry. And so while it's great to like be open and listen, like, again, you never just assume that you know anyone's life. But again, with many actors in the industry, we're now at a point where they're like, yeah, great, I'm glad you're listening, but also like, just let me show off and do my thing. Yeah,
they're here to be actors, not teachers. They don't owe us that.
Yeah, 100%. You know what I want? If I'm going to cast Candide,
yeah, please.
I am going to send out an open casting call to every young woman who auditioned for Christine and Phantom and got turned away after the first callback. I'm going to say, come get your pretty little ass in here and you sing for me. You sing for me. You be funny. You come in and do what they told you were too offbeat to do. Come in here and do it, bitch.
I would love that. That is it, Matt. That's the dream casting. That's the dream process. And I bet you'd get something fucking amazing out of it.
And then they take off their mic packs and sing Make Our Garden Grow Again. Yeah.
Because we're putting this on now.
We're putting it on today. We're going to go on the little island on the Hudson River. And I was going to be like, oh my God.
Get there right now. Run. It's happening.
Those are all my questions. Jessie, this has been exceptional. Thank you so much for doing this.
Truly my delight, my honor, my pleasure. Thank God somebody else loves Candide out there, Matt. I appreciate you so much. A delight.
Taste. I love that there are people with taste out there.
Right? Oh my God, there's more than just me.
If you want people to find you, can they find you?
Oh, they can find me at jessiefield.com, or on my Instagram is at jsfieldtheater with an ER, because I made a mistake a long time ago about what theater was. So that's my brand now.
That's my brand.
I'm a building, not a building. Concept. Yeah.
You're a building. Is that the difference? ER is a building and RE is like the idea of it?
I learned that very late in my life. Yes.
I mean, I just learned about it now, and I'm pretty sure I'm older than you. No, you said you were older than me last time.
I think. How old are you? Are we doing this?
We never disclosed the actual ages, and I refused to do so.
Yeah, let's do it after we hang up the podcast.
I mean, I think people know my age. You just don't. So if you want to find me, I'm on Instagram at Matt Koplik, usual spelling. If you like the podcast, rate, review, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating. You will join us next week as we discuss another show that has a similar trajectory in terms of the cast album saving its life after closing. But I would argue a more complicated relationship with the score. We, of course, are talking about Mac and Mabel. However, here's the thing. I promised you a little teaser announcement about the podcast in this next episode. And here it is, y'all. Broadway Breakdown is getting a Patreon. Whoa! Woo! Here's the tea, y'all. All of you know that I've been going through every movie adapted from a stage musical of all time. Started with 21st century, and then we've moved it back to the 1980s, and we're starting to go into the 1970s now. I've given you my rankings of those movies so far. The Patreon will be dedicated to these movies exclusively. Every episode will be the next movie that we watch, and I will have a guest on and we will talk about it, and then I'll tell you where it is in the ranking. You'll also get episodes of this series of Broadway Breakdown a little earlier than you normally would. There will also be some video content that I wouldn't normally share, like probably some video from this episode, just so people can see our faces.
Yeah, because we're cute. Yeah, we said we were hot 15 times, so we better prove it.
They need to, you know what they need? They need to see us shaking our yabos and going. Yeah. People need to see my shirt and wall. Blending.
Oh, that's a treat, guys. You'd be really missing out if you don't sign up for that.
When I say eggplant, I know what you're thinking, but truly, this is just literal eggplant.
Yeah, it really is, and it really is a perfect match. It really
is. I didn't notice it till I did it. Oh my god! But yeah, so that's the exciting news. Patreon. Don't ask me when. I'm assuming that this episode comes out at the end of May, if my timing is correct, which means the Patreon will probably be happening about a week or two after this episode comes out. Woo! Yeah, but that's the exciting news. So I will make sure you guys all have the links for that. I have to learn how Patreon works between now and when I'm recording this, and I set up the Patreon. Love the vibe. So thank you so much for listening, guys, and we'll check you out next week for Mac and Mabel. Now we close out every episode with a Broadway Diva. I want to make sure that we have not done Miss Andrea Martin yet. We're gonna do Andrea Martin. I don't think I've ever done her, so we're gonna close out with we're gonna close out with Miss Martin. So thank you so much, Jessie. Thank you for listening, everybody, and I'll catch you next week. Take us away, Andrea. Bye.
It's time to start living, time to take a little from this world we're given, time to take time, 'cause spring will turn to fall in just no time at all. I've never wondered if I was afraid when there was a challenge to take, and I never thought about how